Chapter 401, The Pirate Expo begins. Along the bustling streets, pirates with bounties over 100 million berries wandered freely, mingling and showing off. To put it simply, over 100 million berries in value walked everywhere. 10 million berries were mere commoners, and more than 500 million berries were true masters. Kaido and Issho strolled through the lively market, sampling local delicacies as they walked.
Oh, I didn't expect him to be here too.
Kaido said, chewing on takoyaki as he sensed a familiar presence nearby, a small smile forming on his lips.
Captain, who is it?
Issho asked excitedly, his eyes sparkling.
Another member of the crew, Red Earl Redfield. Let's go meet him, he's probably waiting for us.
Kaido replied, tugging Issho's arm as they made their way toward a barbecue stall. Kaido clapped Redfield on the shoulder.
Why wait any longer? Join us.
The three of them sat together, and Redfield put down his drink, smiling warmly.
Is this the new crew member? I'm Issho, I'll be taking care of things from now on.
Issho said gently, raising his glass.
Glad to meet you.
Redfield replied, clinking glasses before they all drank together. With the ice broken, the conversation flowed easily, laughter echoing across the street.
What's the captain planning to do? Intervene?
Redfield asked.
No need to rush. If someone dares to cause a scene, they'll quickly learn the consequences.
Kaido said, smirking.
When did you arrive? Yesterday.
Redfield replied.
Have you found lodging?
Kaido asked.
No, too crowded. Many hotels are full, so I just found a spot on a rooftop.
Redfield said, gesturing to the surrounding pirates.
Those with ships stay on their ships. Those without, like you, improvise.
Kaido said, nodding.
Then we'll spend the next few days on the boat.
He decided.
All right, but Captain, after this battle, our crew will draw attention from the major pirate groups. Have you thought of a name for our pirate crew?
Redfield asked. Kaido's gaze deepened, a smile playing at his lips.
Purple-eyed thunder pirates?
Redfield's eyes widened in shock.
Correct.
Kaido admitted with a calm nod.
2 abilities.
Redfield said, envy and awe mixed in his expression. It was known that one could only consume a single devil fruit, and eating more would be fatal. Kaido's existence defied that limit.
That's exactly why you're the captain.
Redfield said, smiling broadly. After their discussion, Kaido and Redfield returned to the dock where their merchant ship was moored, before separating to explore the island. Kaido saw familiar faces: Kid, Capone Bije, Drake. Nearly all the supernovas had arrived, except Luffy. Meanwhile, in a dark room, Bullet sat before multiple surveillance screens, his eyes narrowing.
Sure enough, the captain have arrived. That person beside him must be the new crew member. But from the looks of it, they have no intention of stopping me. Fine, I'll go all out.
A smile curved Bullet's lips as he picked up a glass and drank, observing silently. Time passed quickly, and the day of the World Expo arrived. Early in the morning, Kaido, Redfield, and Issho paid respects at the Temple of the Five Organs before finding seats to watch the rare Pirate Expo with great interest. By 8:00 a.m., the sun shone brightly, and the announcers Donna Moderat and Annie, the phantom fruit user, appeared in the arena, signaling the start of the world-renowned event. At Moderat's signal, a fleet of impatient pirate ships sailed toward the competition site. Each captain sought the Eternal Pointer, a legendary treasure once owned by Pirate King Roger. Kaido's eyes flicked to the waters, Luffy. The competitors below resembled clowns under the spectators' gaze, providing entertainment more than competition. Kaido watched with mild interest, seated comfortably, indifferent to the chaos. A sudden ripple in the water transformed into a massive vortex. Boom, the water column shot skyward, forming the path to the ultimate goal, Treasure Island. Modelat explained the new formation clearly as the ships charged toward the vortex, competing fiercely. Treasure Island rose ahead, lush with vegetation and natural fragrance but devoid of life. Dense treasures lined steep slopes, and beside a particularly radiant jewel box rested the eternal pointer of Larudev. Boom, the arrival of pirate ships shattered the island's tranquility. Tyrannical strength, not finesse, determined who would claim the spoils. As the chaos unfolded, Kaido reclined calmly, unmoved by the pandemonium. Redfield mirrored his composure, seasoned veterans unbothered by ordinary skirmishes. The battles above seemed trivial compared to the aftermath of Kaido's confrontation with Kaido. Even as the crowd cheered, the three remained detached, watching with measured interest. At that moment, Madalaka's roar drew Kaido's attention to Kaido's screen.
Yes, the Four Emperors' crews, they've arrived.
Chapter 402, Bullet's Dominance at Treasure Island. The combatants watched each other cautiously, neither side intervening in the skirmishes of the distant fighters. To them, the battles below were mere spectacles, only the Four Emperors truly warranted attention.
Yo, isn't that Katakuri? What? Big Mom is after the Eternal Pointer too.
Marco sneered, crossing his arms.
Mama wants it badly. Otherwise, she wouldn't send us.
Katakuri replied calmly.
Whitebeards seem interested either. No, Pop sent us here just for the fun of watching. You're different with Big Mom's temper, she must have issued a kill order.
Marco said bluntly. Though the Four Emperors' crews, the Whitebeard pirates, Red Hair pirates, and others were on relatively friendly terms, the Big Mom pirates and the Beasts pirates had long-standing tensions. Their conflicts had simmered in recent years, and it was normal for them to exchange blows when meeting. Boom! A sudden shockwave shook the ground, sending participating pirates flying in a spray of blood. Margot and Katakuri's expressions shifted. They knew full well that none of the supernovas were capable of causing such a disturbance. Something extraordinary had occurred. Katakuri's right eye flared red.
What did he see? Do you know who the opponent is?
Marco asked urgently. They were familiar with Katakuri's abilities.
I think you already know what Brother Katakuri perceived.
Cracker, hidden within his biscuit form, spat angrily.
Cracker!
Diamond Jazu clenched his fists, frustration evident.
Step aside, I'm not afraid of you.
Cracker retorted.
Quiet, Cracker.
Katakuri said coldly, his gaze intense. Then his voice deepened with authority.
He is immensely powerful. You've seen him before, he's an old friend. He was a crew member of the Roger Pirates, the legendary Bullet, a force comparable to Pluton Rayleigh. Bullet, the one who sparked the sea riot back then.
Marco frowned.
Wasn't he captured by the Marines and imprisoned in Impel Down? How is he out? I don't know.
Katakuri said icily.
It seems he is the mastermind behind this expo.
Marco wiped his forehead, the enormity of the situation sinking in. This individual's reputation rivaled even the greatest figures of the sea. Had it not been for that infamous riot, Bullet might have risen to the status of emperor.
Forget it, since he's controlling events behind the scenes, let's stop this fight. Pops asked us to come, but you cannot interfere.
Marco said with a small smile.
We'll step back and allow the Eternal Pointer to fall into your hands. Good luck.
Marco said, guiding the division captains back to the Whitebeard ship.
Marco, why? Why are we giving up?
Jazu growled, his voice filled with reluctance. The other squad leaders exchanged similar expressions. As powerful members of the Four Emperors, it was unthinkable to retreat at the mention of one person. Marco's expression remained unreadable, his eyes sharp.
Jazu, you've been a pirate long enough. You must know who Bullet is. He's strong, yes, but we're no pushovers. Together we can handle him.
Jazu replied confidently.
You understand his strength, but you have no idea how immense it truly is.
Marco said, his voice heavy with memory.
Before that sea riot, Bullet fought Kaido on an unnamed island.
Fought Kaido, Beasts pirates. When? Why haven't I heard of this?
Jazu frowned. Marco continued.
Pop sent a message and I witnessed it firsthand on a deserted island. Their fight was terrifying. Neither used devil fruit abilities, only their raw bodies clashed. They battled for a full day and night. In the end, Bullet lost due to physical limitations. Kaido offered him a position among the Beasts pirates as one of the 3 disasters, but Bullet refused and caused the ensuing chaos himself.
Marco explained.
So the mastermind behind Bullet's actions isn't him, but the Beasts pirates.
Jazu asked, eyes narrowing.
I don't know. I suspect the true mastermind is the one who freed Bullet.
Margot said.
The defenses of Impel Down are renowned across the seas. To release Bullet without alerting the Marines, even Kaido couldn't manage that.
Jiazu added in awe. Marco's mouth twitched.
That's why we step back. If we can capture the Eternal Pointer, great. If not, our safety comes first. This year's supernova alone are challenging enough. Adding Bullet to the mix is unnecessary risk.
Treasure Island was in chaos. The once lush island now bore the scars of violent clashes. Bullet's muscles tensed, radiating indifference as he surveyed the defeated supernovas, including Luffy and Zoro, whose strength was still limited 2 years prior, before training with Rayleigh. With a casual disdain, Bullet knocked them unconscious, rendering them powerless.
This year's supernova.
Bullet muttered, stepping on Yoru's head with contempt. Humph.
Boring.
He added, holding the Eternal Pointer in his hand.
I expected some worthy opponents, but it's just a bunch of children.
Chapter 403, Roger's Eternal Pointer 1. Bullet's eyes narrowed as he scanned the battlefield. He has already cast such a wide net.
I remember the 4 emperors were supposed to be here.
Bullet muttered, frustration creeping into his voice. A figure appeared, arms crossed, standing proudly atop a mountain of treasure. It was Katakuri.
Looking for me,
He said calmly, his gaze like still water. Bullet smiled wickedly, holding the Eternal Pointer in his hand.
Is this what you want? You think you can take it from me? I'll let you have fun.
Suddenly, Bullet's footsteps slammed into the ground. Cracks spiderwebbed outward as he launched himself at Katakuri like a sharp arrow. His black iron fist gathered power, brimmed with violent energy that crackled through the air like thunder. Katakuri's right eye flickered red. Bullet roared, activating his ability. The air around him twisted into a tornado, swirling violently as he drove his iron fist straight through Katakuri's midsection. Bullet's grin widened.
Impressive. For Big Mom's second in command, you're not bad.
But Katakuri didn't flinch. With a roar, he retaliated. His machi ability awakened, and from his feet erupted a massive black whip, his limbs stretching and morphing into a giant pillar of sticky, glutinous machi. The ground groaned, the air thickened, and the space around them felt heavy with power. Bullet's excitement grew.
Good, very good, as expected of an emperor's lieutenant. Those little guys don't compare.
He raised his palms, surging with power. The ground beneath him shattered. A monstrous storm billowed, dust filling the air, shrouding them in a haze so thick nothing could be seen inside. Bullet's voice cut through the chaos.
Not enough, more. I want to feel your strength.
Haki and blood surged from both hands, erupted waves of force, pushing upward. 2 giant black pillars of power snapped into existence, spinning and tearing through the sky and earth as Bullet hurled them with devastating force. Midair, Katakuri remained composed. He retracted his machi limbs like rubber, returning them to their normal form. With calm precision, he extended his right hand, his machi transforming into a flexible rope that wrapped around Bullet tightly.
Hand over the Eternal Pointer.
He said evenly. Bullet sneered.
You think this is enough to stop me? Don't underestimate me.
In an instant, the rope shattered by an explosive surge of power from Bullet. A terrifying aura erupted from him, shifting the very clouds above. The ground cracked, ripples of force formed a hurricane that engulfed the island. Katakuri's face remained composed, but beneath his calm, he braced himself. He had sensed this moment coming. The full force of Bullet's haki was about to break free. A tremendous wave of willpower burst from Bullet, darker and heavier than before. The sky blackened, the earth trembled, cracks spidered across the ground. Trees swayed, rocks tumbled, and a storm of unimaginable fury consumed everything. Yet at the center stood Katakuri, his expression unflinching, his gaze still as clear as water. He was like an ancient mountain, unshakable. Lightning crackled, not ordinary lightning, but deep crimson arcs of energy dancing between them. Their wills collided with the force of an army, 2 titans pushing against each other in a clash of spirit. Then, a shockwave exploded. Black-red energy shot into the sky, tearing apart clouds, revealing a scorching sun behind. The onlookers gasped. Through the haze of power, they glimpsed the phantom of Katakuri's machi constructs, tremors of energy that seemed to pulse with life. Silence fell over the crowd.
This!
Moderat shouted, his voice trembling as he dragged the stunned audience back to their senses. As more recovered, the pirate spectators erupted in excitement.
Look, Conqueror's haki!
That force.
This is real fighting. What we saw before was just child's play.
On the edge of the island, the Big Mom pirates watched in awe. Cracker, Praline, Owen, and the others stared at the distance, shock written on their faces.
That.
Charlotte Praline whispered, disbelief in her voice. In the Big Mom crew, Katakuri was second only to their mother in power.
He's powerful.
Cracker said quietly.
Very powerful, not someone to take lightly.
Praline looked at him wide-eyed.
You.
A long time ago.
Cracker replied, his voice solemn.
He's not ordinary. Katakuri may not be his match.
One by one, the younger Big Mom members, ones who had never heard of Bullet before, gasped.
How is this possible?
One cried.
The sea riot he once caused.
Said Owen gravely. Cracker nodded.
If Katakuri loses.
Chapter 404, Roger's Eternal Pointer 2. On the battlefield, the sky seemed to tear open, lightning of red and blue weaving through the air as two conquerors' haki clashed, dividing the island into opposing storms.
Nice conquerors.
Bullet growled, his voice laced with fierce anger.
However,
He added, narrowing his eyes.
just this conquerors isn't enough.
With a tremendous boom, waves erupted and the ground quaked. The stalemate broke, and the two conquerors' haki spiraled outward, colliding fiercely. Around Bullet, his haki churned like a raging sea, rolling and crashing in a tempest of willpower. Crackle, crackle. Dark red lightning danced in the air. The pressure swelled. From the center, Bullet's conquerors surged toward Katakuri until Katakuri's own aura was forced back, confined within a tight 2-meter radius.
Katakuri-sen's conquerors can't match Bullets.
Praline gasped in horror.
Did he really fail?
Owen whispered, as if stunned beyond belief. Everyone around was struck with shock. On the field, Katakuri's calm, watery eyes betrayed a flicker of uncertainty.
Sure enough,
He thought.
a mere conqueror's clash isn't enough to stop him. If he's to be defeated, it must be by combat.
His face hardened. He fixed his gaze on Bullet and quietly, war lit in his eyes. Suddenly, Katakuri trembled. He blurred in a burst of afterimages. Behind him, powerful limbs sprouted 6 arms in total, thick and metallic, twisting out like a monstrous spider. The air roared as each of those arms gathered force, shining with a fierce steel sheen. Wind howled around him, and each limb, brimming with strength, struck outward like oaken rubber. Bullet's expression remained unconcerned, fearless. His own arms surged with power as his body hardened, turned jet black like iron. He launched his fist, blocking Katakuri's assault with brutal force. Bang, bang, bang. They clashed again, vicious and relentless. The earth ruptured where they struck. Soil shot upward, and trees, flowers, and plants were pulverized in their wake. They looked like 2 colossal tyrannosaurs, crushing everything before them. Though Katakuri fought with tremendous strength, the audience could sense Bullet was struggling. Not visibly retreating, but clearly on the defensive. Every time Katakuri attacked, Bullet didn't dodge, he just endured. It confused everyone. Is he enjoying being hit? They wondered. Katakuri's eyes darkened with tension. Neither of them had used their devil fruit ability, only haki and sheer physical power. With each collision, Katakuri seemed to gain the upper hand, but for some reason, a shadow of unease lingered in his heart. No distractions, he told himself. I know Bullet, focus. Meanwhile, Bullet, despite the pressure, remained steady. If one didn't know his past, the scarred face, the brutal reputation, one might think his attacks were unsuccessful. But they weren't. Katakuri narrowed his eyes. What endurance.
Is this really the strength of Big Mom's second-in-command?
Bullet sneered.
Yet here we are.
Suddenly, the ground vibrated rhythmically. Footsteps came, strong and ordered. Katakuri and Bullet both turned. Wave after wave of biscuit warriors, armed and disciplined, marched forward like a phalanx.
Reinforcements.
Bullet smirked.
Ah, Cracker, the famous Cracker, one of the sweet commanders.
The regiment's leader emerged, Cracker, flanked by a wall of his loyal cookie warriors.
Cracker!
Katakuri said, a hint of reluctance in his voice. He preferred to fight alone, unlike his siblings.
Katakuri-san.
Cracker called out.
I know your pride, but this isn't the time for honor. Powerful forces are here. We must take him down quickly or snatch the eternal pointer back.
Katakuri frowned.
Who exactly are we fighting?
He asked.
Plenty!
Cracker said, voice tight.
The Shichibukai, Empress Boa Hancock, Hawkeye, and worst of all, the Marines. Admiral Kizaru is here, along with alternate admirals Momousagi and Takecake, and 5 vice admirals from a Buster Call force. It's chaos.
He paused, letting his words sink in.
If we don't stop Bullet soon,
Katakuri nodded once sharply.
then let's end this fight quickly, before the Marines arrive. Ahem.
Cracker agreed. At his signal, the Biscuit Warriors raised their weapons, advancing steadily. Each step was confident, unified. Bullet laughed coldly.
Using these useless iron tools on me, you misjudge me terribly.
Then he unleashed a raw, brutal surge of power. His aura exploded outward like an arrow in flight, charging at Cracker's line. Boom, boom, boom. The ground buckled with each impact. The storm of power roared. Bullet's fists, powerful as meteors, smashed into the Cookie Warriors. They shattered, crumbling under his blows as if made of brittle sugar rather than soldiers. Cookie fragments flew everywhere as the massacre continued. It felt like a sea of blood, but worse, a sea of broken dreams. Another roar. The black whip-like leg of Katakuri, or maybe Bullet's aura, swiped across the ground, obliterating more warriors. Suddenly, darkness blanketed the sky, and 2 massive fists, enormous, crushing, descended like meteors. Bullet disappeared in an instant. Boom! A deafening sound shook the island. The ground where he'd stood folded inward, crushed under the weight of those shadowy fists.
Not bad.
Bullet said, his voice resonating with exhilaration and madness.
This is the battle I've wanted.
A malicious aura filled the air, blood seemed to drip from it, though no one could be sure. Still, the area within 100 meters was engulfed in a macabre haze like a crimson ocean. Katakuri and Cracker glanced at each other, concern and shock on their faces. It was clear, Bullet's strength was still rising. Red light coalesced around him. His eyes glowed scarlet and his dark blue weapon seemed to hum with his power. His aura was vicious, feral like a demon king reborn.
Congratulations.
He said softly, yet every word carried weight.
You are the first to witness my true peak.
A faint, chilling smile curved his lips.
This is the result of my fusion of ghost and hacky state.
Chapter 405, Roger's Eternal Pointer 3.
You can also call it my devil form. In this state, every attribute of my body rises to an entirely new level. What?
Katakuri didn't speak yet, but Cracker jolted in shock before he could. In Bullet's earlier state, even when Cracker worked together with Katakuri, they only barely held the advantage. Now that Bullet's power had climbed another level, even Cracker, one of the sweet commanders, felt a chill run down his spine. Devil Descendant Bullet.
This.
Cracker gritted his teeth. Cracks spiderwebbed across his biscuit armor before it completely shattered into fragments. He stepped out with a serious expression, gripping his sword. His palms clapped sharply, calling the broken biscuit soldiers scattered across the battlefield. The shards gathered and fused together rapidly, forming an entirely new warrior.
Rolls pretzels.
The biscuit warriors spun their blades, generating an intense vortex. VRRRM. Sword aura filled the air, buzzing like a storm of steel. The earth split open as spiraling sword energy surged outward in a violent torrent.
Brother Katakuri, move.
Cracker roared. Katakuri had already foreseen the attack the moment Cracker opened his mouth. Without hesitation, he flashed away like lightning. Thousands of spiraling blades of sword energy rained toward Bullet like a sea of death. Scree! Scree! The sword energy clashed violently against Bullet's hardened body, throwing sparks like molten metal. The cutting screech filled the battlefield. Yet Bullet didn't dodge. He stood unmoving, arms crossed, letting every blade of sword energy land on him as though testing their sharpness. Sparks coated him like a blazing armor, and the ground beneath him cracked and collapsed under the force of the assault. When the storm finally faded, Bullet stood unharmed. His red eyes locked onto Cracker, and a cruel grin twisted across his face.
These little blades aren't bad.
He slapped his chest confidently and started walking toward Cracker step by step.
How?
Cracker stared in disbelief.
Don't overthink it.
Katakuri said, appearing at his side with a steady tone.
His armament Haki and Conqueror's Haki are both trained to the absolute limit. Even I am inferior in raw force. You're attacking with long-range support, while I fought him in close combat.
Katakuri continued.
He can't maintain that level of defense forever. No matter how powerful he is, he can't ignore the cost of tanking that many sword attacks.
Cracker nodded.
All right, Katakuri-san. Wait!
Katakuri suddenly stopped, frowning deeply as he turned toward the east.
What is it, Katakuri-san?
A lone figure approached. A man stood there with an unconscious body at his feet. Owen, one of Big Mom's sons.
Hawkeye!
Cracker muttered, his pupils shrinking. Katakuri turned again. On the opposite side, another figure appeared, beautiful and imposing, long dark hair flowing in the wind.
Boa Hancock.
Cracker breathed. In the sky, wings beat lightly. Marco hovered above them, watching like an amused spectator.
Marco!
Cracker snarled. A mocking voice echoed across the battlefield.
Oh, I'm so scared. Looks like we're not too late.
Kizaru strolled in with his usual lazy expression, accompanied by several vice admirals, including Momousagi and Onagumo.
Marines!
Cracker muttered coldly. Enemies surrounded the island land, sky, and sea, like a cage closing around Bullet. Bullet's savage expression grew solemn. Katakuri and Cracker alone had forced him to use most of his true strength, but now... Marco, a Shichibukai, a Marine Admiral, multiple Vice Admirals. This was an entirely different battlefield.
You bastard, Marco, didn't you leave?
Cracker yelled in frustration. Marco shrugged.
What? I can't come back after leaving.
Chapter 406, Roger's Eternal Pointer 4.
Damn, that's a good sentence.
Someone muttered in disbelief. Even after going back and thinking it over, the reaction stayed the same, speechless. Katakuri stood calmly amid all the gathered powers, his sharp gaze sweeping the battlefield as he searched for a chance to reclaim the eternal pose to laugh tail. But as his eyes passed over the Marines, he exhaled quietly. With Kizaru's speed, there was almost no chance of getting the eternal pose back before Marine hands snatched it.
Oh, Hawkeye, Boa Hancock. As Shichibukai, are you planning to help us Marines this time?
Kizaru asked lazily, tilting his head.
Just watching the fun.
Hawkeye replied.
Looking for someone.
Hancock added.
Well, as long as neither of you want the eternal pose, I won't complain.
Kizaru sighed. His gaze lifted toward Marco.
What about you? Do the Whitebeard Pirates and Big Mom Pirates want to join in too? Don't pin it on us, Kizaru.
Marco chuckled.
Like Hawkeye, I'm just here to enjoy the show.
Damn, that's a good sentence, someone muttered in disbelief. Even after going back and thinking it over, the reaction stayed the same, speechless. Katakuri stood calmly amid all the gathered powers, his sharp gaze sweeping the battlefield as he searched for a chance to reclaim the eternal pose to laugh tail. But as his eyes passed over the Marines, he exhaled quietly. With Kizaru's speed, there was almost no chance of getting the eternal pose back before Marine hands snatched it. Oh, Hawkeye, Boa Hancock, as Shichibukai, are you planning to help us Marines this time? Kizaru asked lazily, tilting his head. Just watching the fun, Hawkeye replied. Looking for someone, Hancock added. Well, as long as neither of you want the eternal pose, I won't complain, Kizaru sighed. His gaze lifted toward Marco. What about you? Do the Whitebeard Pirates and Big Mom Pirates want to join in too? Don't pin it on us, Kizaru, Marco chuckled. Like Hawkeye, I'm just here to enjoy the show. But judging from your lineup, it sure looks like everyone's aiming for the eternal pose to laugh tail. Their banter filled the air while, below them, the supernova's bullet had crushed began waking up one by one. Pain pulsed through their bodies. Faces pale, voices weak, they instinctively gathered together as the figures surrounding them grew more and more overwhelming.
You bastard!
Luffy shouted at Bullet, gripping his stomach.
Luffy, don't rush in.
Zoro warned sharply, pulling him back. Everyone understood now, this was no longer their battlefield. Shichibukai Marine's Emperor's Cruise.
Bullet, I didn't expect you to be the mastermind behind this expo.
Kizaru said with uncharacteristic seriousness.
Ha ha ha, Kizaru, I didn't expect Marine to send you here either. We only separated recently. Not even a month.
Kizaru recalled, rubbing his chin.
Then we must be destined enemies.
Bullet sneered. The two talked casually, completely ignoring the newly awakened supernovas, as though discussing homework rather than a battle.
For your captain's sake, we won't make things hard for you.
Kizaru said lightly.
Hand over the eternal pose to Laugh Tail and we'll leave.
Inwardly, his headache grew. He had thought this mission would be simple. He never imagined Bullet was the mastermind. Bullet didn't scare him. Ayanami Kaito and Redfield did. Kaito, a man capable of overturning all of Marine HQ alone. Redfield, a legendary lone pirate who kept pace with the Whitebeard and Roger Cruz decades ago. Even Kizaru couldn't match either of them. Not even Sengoku wanted to provoke those two. Kizaru was sure that once the fleet admiral learned Bullet was behind all this, he'd make the same choice, avoid unnecessary conflict.
Captain, don't worry.
Bullet laughed.
Everything today was arranged by me alone. The captain already allowed it, meaning he won't know or interfere with anything happening here.
Bullet grinned as he raised the eternal pose in his palm.
You want this eternal pose? Defeat me.
Gasps spread through the crowd. Not for the eternal pose. For the question burning in everyone's mind. Who?
Fine, I'll show you my true strength. Today, only one person on this island survives, and that person is me.
His voice, dripping with arrogance and killing intent, made even the strongest frown. Tum. A heavy ripple burst from his body, expanding across the battlefield in an instant. Crack. A terrifying suction force erupted outward. Marine battleships, pirate ships, rubble, buildings, all were dragged toward Bullet as though swallowed by a vortex. His body began expanding, swelling at a speed visible to the naked eye. In moments, a towering giant composed of earth and debris loomed over the island.
In order to make you happy, I skipped the basic fruit ability and went straight to awakening.
Bullet's voice echoed from within the armored giant.
Be grateful, I'm sending you straight to hell.
Another hum resonated. A dark blue surge of armament haki erupted, flooding across the colossal structure, coating the giant entirely. The hardened aura wrapped around it like a dark sea of steel.
What a terrifying guy.
Kizaru whispered.
This giant's not any smaller than that captain's giant. This.
Luffy's expression hardened.
It's huge and.
Luffy warned.
That giant is insane. Idiots.
Kid snapped with an ugly scowl.
Who the hell would have guessed something this terrifying was hiding behind the expo?
High overhead, Marco hovered in phoenix form.
So big, and that pressure.
He murmured. Katakuri swallowed hard, his complexion pale.
Cracker, get our younger siblings back to the ship.
Katakuri ordered.
Or at least far from here. You won't be able to participate in this battle. Got it, Katakuri-san.
Cracker nodded, summoning a biscuit soldier and moving quickly. A rebellious voice boomed from above.
Trying to leave, did I say you could? Your corpse will test the strength of my fist.
A massive blue-coated giant fist descended from the sky, crashing downward like a meteor. Wham! The earth collapsed, impact waves tearing across the entire island like a plowing storm. Wind pressure slashed outward, turning the gusts into razor-thin blades that shredded everything in their path. On the battlefield, Katakuri planted himself beside Cracker, meeting the enormous fist with a hardened giant machi fist of his own. The collision detonated like thunder.
That's right.
Bullet roared.
This is the strength of an emperor's right hand.
A piercing birdsong echoed. Kawu. Blue flames crashed downward as massive phoenix claws raked across the giant's shoulder. The impact tore open a large gap in the giant's arm. Marco reverted to human form, his expression grave.
Yeah.
Chapter 407, Roger's Eternal Pointer 5. A brilliant crescent-shaped moon seemed to sail across the sky as sharp sword energy rippled through the void. Its target, the ruptured gap in the giant's arm, struck moments ago by Marco. The sword's glow was dazzling, its power saturating the air. Then a white flashlight exploded. A crack opened in the giant's arm, splitting like the metal plates of a titan, fragments falling away as the whole island trembled with a thunderous roar. Nearby, Hawkeye sheathed Hideyai without a word, his expression grave. Behind Kizaru, Momosage's brow furrowed in concern.
Is it enough?
He muttered.
All that weaponry is overwhelming, but compared to a single, powerful adversary, it still feels thin. And
Another voice added.
when something grows that big, its strength rises, but it becomes slower, easier to hit. It's turning into a massive living target. Compared with Kaido, that giant is nothing.
Weasel chimed in, voice wavering.
Kaido's strength.
Momosage agreed quietly.
Kaido didn't just have offense and defense, he had lightning-fast reactions. He was incomparable.
But Kizaru raised a hand to stop them.
Forget that for now. Take down the giant first, then recover the eternal pose. Understood.
Momosage replied sharply. Suddenly, the sky-white aura around Bullet surged. His laugh echoed wildly from within the sprawling form of the giant.
As long as I exist, death cannot touch me.
The giant's feet lifted, casting a black shadow that stretched 100 meters across the ground. With terrifying force, it stomped down on Katakuri as though he were a mere pebble. Katakuri didn't flinch. His expression stayed calm as his arms bulged, morphing into two massive totem-like columns, ready to meet the colossal threat head-on. A gigantic roar echoed, the sky quaked, and a furious storm erupted between the two figures, sweeping across the island. Bullet's eyes gleamed with wild confidence.
You really think you can stop me with raw strength? You're far weaker than you imagine.
At his words, the giant's power exploded. But Katakuri's right eye shone red, and in an instant he vanished, moving so fast it was like teleportation. Boom! The ground shattered under immense pressure, and the giant's shadowed foot landed with a world-shaking impact, leaving a massive crater behind. Meanwhile, the broken arm of the sky-covering giant pulsed with dark blue energy, veins of light wrapping around it as if healing itself. Suddenly, a chant echoed in the air. Sword energy spiraled out in iridescent purple crescents, slicing through those blue lines of power with brilliant intensity.
I'm sorry,
Momosage said with a steady voice, sword in hand.
but I can't let you recover. You're persistent.
Bullet cursed from within his massive form. From above, Marco's voice rang out softly.
So the Marines are really joining in now.
Doberman snorted in response. T. Dolphin pointed toward Luffy, and the others fleeing below.
Kizaru-san, do those mice want us to catch them?
She asked. Kizaru's eyes narrowed.
They're badly hurt. Their ships, both island and pirate, were absorbed into Bullet's power. Our Marines control those fragments now. They can't get away.
He paused disgustedly.
Clean up Bullet first. This mess.
On the field, the giant version of Bullet loomed, its broken arm glowing. Its eyes glowed like living lanterns as it scanned the battlefield. Suddenly, Bullet's flexible, spring-like arms erupted like snakes, coiling around his massive legs. At the same moment, blue flames burst from Marco's body, shooting through the air like a blazing comet, aiming for the giant's leg. A piercing war cry rose. Blue flames coalesced and formed razor-sharp claw-like appendages, slicing the air itself.
Sing!
Marco's voice rang. In perfect harmony, Momosage brought his sword to bear once again. The sword light flashed, energy surged, and the giant's massive legs tore apart, splitting cleanly in two. It was flawless teamwork, like old comrades long reunited. Boom! Without support from one leg, the enormous blue giant crashed to the ground. It was the opening they needed. Without hesitation, every master on the field Dolphin, Mamausagi, Weasel, Katakuri, and Marco launched their attacks. They roared in unison, focusing their power on the giant's belly. Blue flames lingered around Margao as his consciousness elevated, summoning a giant bird wreathed in azure fire, a phoenix reborn from the ashes. It hurtled toward Bullet's form, striking with divine ferocity. Katakuri wasn't far behind. His machi surged, and 6 thick arms, gleaming metallically, formed pillars from the sky, crashing down with thunderous force. On the marine side, Mamausagi led the charge. One by one, fierce sword energies emerged from his hand, raining down on Bullet like a relentless storm of blades. Boom! The battlefield erupted. The ground cracked, dust and debris whipped into a cyclone. The attack was volcanic in its ferocity. Bullet's giant stomach, bombarded with indiscriminate power, was soon riddled with holes. Click, click. Finally, with a tremendous explosion, the giant form disintegrated. A yawning pit opened beneath where he had stood and Bullet plummeted into it. From the darkness, Bullet emerged, chest heaving, a trickle of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was wounded but defiantly alive.
Heh.
He laughed.
So it's true.
Marco shrugged, voice flat.
You were stubborn. Why didn't you just hand over the eternal pose earlier? If you want it,
Bullet growled, balled fist raised.
then beat me to earn it.
He revealed the eternal pose in his palm, his eyes glinting with defiance, showing no hint of compromise. A crimson aura engulfed him, his skin turning an unnatural blood red. Armament haki flared violently, his gaze becoming a pair of burning red eyes. In an instant, his devil form erupted once more. The small blue giant's body pulsated with wild haki, the heavy aura rolling outward like a sea in turmoil, pressing down on the air around him.
Ho ho!
2 figures slipped out from behind Kizaru, one tall, with a spider-like grace, the other slender, his face scarred. They were Mamausagi and Chathun. At the same moment, the Buster Call's 5 vice admirals, led by Weasel, advanced. The 6-style shave technique was activated, and they appeared before Katakuri in formation. Above them, golden light filled the sky. Radiant particles swirled until Kizaru stood before Margao with a grim expression.
I think we should just watch this.
He said quietly.
What do you think?
Marco nodded, voice emotionless.
Yes, my priority is the eternal pose. Whether we seize it doesn't matter so much as proving our strength.
On the ground, Katakuri frowned, solemn.
So the Marines want to claim it for themselves.
He said.
We won't let that happen.
Chapter 408, Roger's Eternal Pointer 6.
You think too much. When did we Marines ever say we would share the eternal pointer with you?
Weasel said calmly.
You need to remember, you are pirates, we are Marines, we are naturally opposites.
Doberman added.
So, are you planning to stop me?
Katakuri regained his cold, indifferent tone.
Humph, the eternal pointer holds immense significance. We Marines will never allow another pirate king. You can either stand here and await the battle's outcome obediently, or... No, we don't mind bringing you back to Impel Down. I aim to capture the second-in-command of the Big Mom pirates. Marshal Sengoku will be pleased.
The hawkish ghost spider spat his words, tough and unwavering. Katakuri's eyes froze. As Big Mom's second-in-command, he had rarely been addressed this way. Did they truly see him as just another pirate?
Unbelievable, how dare you speak to Katakuri like that? You want to fight? Very well, we'll join you.
Cracker charged forward with a few injured Big Mom pirates trailing behind.
Why are you here?
When the giant vanished, we assumed the battle had ended. So we brought reinforcements. Who would have expected you to be still fighting the moment we arrived?
Owen said, pale-faced.
Yo-yo, Kizaru. Looks like you Marines aren't in control here.
Marco floated above, observing the chaos.
Well, let's take a closer look.
Kizaru said calmly. With the reinforcements of Owen and the others, Weasel and his companions no longer appeared confident. Their faces hardened, mirroring Katakuri's serious demeanor. Dong dong dong. The ground trembled and Cracker's biscuit soldiers emerged, encircling Weasel and the Marines. Cracker stepped forward, long sword in hand, smiling beside Katakuri.
What are you going to fight?
Weasel asked solemnly.
Didn't you want war?
Cracker replied with a grin. This movement did not halt the battle raging in the distance, it only intensified. Mamausagi and Chatten, both backup admirals, ranked among the most formidable vice admirals. Mamausagi swung her Jinpira sword, unleashing a crescent of sword energy that streaked toward Bullet. Cigarette dangling at her mouth, she slammed both hands together, sending jagged spikes of earth shooting upward, spinning violently. With armament haki, her attacks were far more than simple arithmetic. They combined, amplified, and exploded with deadly force. Having trained together in the Marine Academy, Mamausagi and Chatten's cooperation was instinctive, seamless. Bullet was a storm incarnate. Possessed by raw power, his fists swung rapidly, energy rippling like the destruction of sky and earth emanating from him. Boom, boom. Circles of invisible force rippled from Bullet like waves rolling outward. Bang, bang, bang. Sword slashes, earth spikes, and other attacks converged, exploding before reaching Bullet himself. Bullet grimaced.
Does the Logia fruit grant powers? Slightly troublesome. Let's deal with that girl first.
Boom. The ground trembled as Bullet shifted, vanishing like a humanoid Tyrannosaurus.
Oh, fight Mamausagi-ji.
T. Dolphin muttered, eyes narrowing. Yet Mamausagi showed no fear. Holding Jinpira, she met Bullet head-on. Metal clashed instantly, dang-dang, the sound relentless. Sword light flashed in vibrant arcs, rainbow-like. Bullet's fists slammed down with meteorite weight, each collision erupting the ground like a volcano, leaving a web of marks and scars around them. Mamausagi, being a woman, was naturally less physically strong than Bullet. Though she resisted with Jinpira, the shock of his immense strength pushed her back with each collision, her sleeves tingling from the strain. Bullet, for his part, bore tiny scars across his body. Without ultimate armament haki, Mamausagi's sword energy could have cut him in half.
I didn't expect this. Your sword energy surpasses even Cracker's at a distance. Among women, your skill is unrivaled.
Bullet said seriously.
Thank you for the compliment.
Mamausagi replied, gripping Jinpira with trembling hands.
However, you should be approaching your limits. Your body shouldn't endure battles of such intensity.
Bullet warned, grinning grimly.
Yeah, it's nearly unbearable.
Mamausagi admitted, a twitch at her mouth.
But don't forget I'm not alone.
As her words fell, T. Dolphin leapt into the air, fists dancing as he charged toward Bullet. Mud from the ground rose, forming enormous mud arms, tearing the air with relentless force like falling meteors.
Humph!
Bullet snorted, blood surging as he lifted his fist to meet the assault. Boom! The ground shattered, dust and debris whipping around like a hurricane. Darkness enveloped the battlefield briefly. Kang! Sword chants rang out as a shadowy figure appeared, white light flashing, sword energy cutting through the void. Bullet readied another strike. Pressure burst from above. T. Dolphin gathered his fist, a pillar of force descending. Bullet's outstretched hand blocked it, a clash of titanic power. Puff! Jinpira sank deep into Bullet's chest, blood dripping from the blade's tip, staining the ground crimson. T. Dolphin, brimming with energy, erupted further, forcing Bullet downward with sheer strength. Puff! Blood sprayed as Mamausagi pulled Jinpira free, vanishing with a swift movement. Bullet's body shuddered, giving T. Dolphin the opportunity to strike again. Two giant arms smashed the ground, leaving deep craters. Inside a crater, Bullet clutched his chest, growling.
Damn it!
Hum! A dazzling slash cut through the void. Just as Bullet tried to evade, the ground erupted, and two earth snakes coiled around his legs like binding ropes. Sparks flew, blood spattering as the sharp blade tore into his abdomen. The sword marks stretched across his torso. Without armament haki, he would have been sliced in two. The attacks overwhelmed him. Bullet's face turned pale, his formidable body weakened. His devil form quietly faded, leaving him as an ordinary man. From above, Kizaru let out a lazy sigh.
It's over.
Chapter 409, Roger's Eternal Pointer, 7 out of 7.
Yes, this time you've won.
Marco exclaimed angrily. His entire body was engulfed in earth flames, transforming into a magnificent blue phoenix that soared into the distance. With Bullet defeated, the Marines held absolute advantage. Katakuri could not contend with them, and with Kizaru present, the eternal pointer was beyond reach for anyone else. Why linger here if it could not be obtained?
Yeah.
Not long after taking flight, Marco sensed an overwhelming presence around him, the subtle pressure from three figures making him tense. His expression darkened, each of the three radiated strength far above him.
Oh, it seems we've been discovered.
A faint voice echoed, and three figures materialized before Marco.
Red count.
Marco's eyes widened in shock. As one of the earliest recruits of the Whitebeard pirates, he had heard of the Red Earl and even witnessed the legendary battle between Whitebeard and the Red Earl. The scene of heaven and earth shattering remained unforgettable.
Oh, you know me. You were the one following Whitebeard back then. What a change.
Redfield said, momentarily stunned, then sighed.
How did you escape? Weren't you killed by the Marines? No, I fell 6 stories down in Impel, but now our captain has emerged.
Redfield explained, having rarely encountered such characters despite being a junior.
Captain!
Marco frowned in surprise. Taking a closer look at the three figures, Marco's eyes widened. Dayanami Kaito stood at the forefront, the very figure dominating headlines recently. A bold thought surged in his mind. Pointing at Kaito in shock, he exclaimed,
The captain you're talking about isn't him, is it? Yes, exactly what you think.
Redfield confirmed with a nod. Marco swallowed hard, his scalp tingling. Kaito had actually formed a pirate crew, and the Red Earl had joined it. The revelation sent shockwaves through his heart. Kaito's strength was undeniable, the Red Earl's power was legendary, and the blind companion there radiated a presence even stronger than them in sheer energy. If this pirate crew announced its members, the seas would tremble. With the Red Earl on board, Kaito's crew already reached a level comparable to the four emperors. It was only a matter of time before the fifth emperor appeared. Marco's anxiety flared. He wanted to return to Whitebeard immediately to report this startling news.
And what are you doing here?
Marco asked boldly, seeking insight into Kaito's presence and his pirate crew.
Well, if you must know, my idiotic crewmate was creating havoc on his own, but ultimately, I, as captain, will resolve it.
Kaito said with mild annoyance.
Bullet crew.
Marco asked.
Yes.
Kaito replied, giving a plain answer.
Busy as you are, I won't disturb you.
Marco said, transforming into a dark blue phoenix, swiftly vanishing into the sky.
Is it wise to just reveal our crew's information to him?
Isho asked with a smirk.
Don't worry, after this battle our pirate crew will command the seas. Even if we remain silent, underground intelligence networks will report it.
Kaito said, waving dismissively. After a pause, he added.
Well, for now let's resolve this matter. Hopefully, after being beaten, he can finally live in peace.
With that, the three of them streaked down toward the base of Treasure Island. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, Kizaru appeared before Katakuri and the others, holding the eternal pointer in his palm.
Here, the pointer is here. If you want it, it will mean war against our Marines.
Bullet, meanwhile, remained unconscious from blood loss.
Humph!
Cracker snorted coldly.
Are you sure?
Kizaru replied with a sly smile, his gaze fixed on Katakuri. As he spoke, his attention shifted toward the three descending figures.
Truly, they've caught their attention. Yo, Kizaru, we meet again.
Kaito and Kizaru exchanged greetings and approached Bullet. Chakra surged from Kaito, green energy filling the air. The sky above Bullet began rapidly stabilizing, wounds closing before the eyes of those watching, returning him to a normal state in an instant.
Healing ability, another new power. What a terrifying pirate.
Kizaru murmured.
It seems the eternal pointer is in your hands.
Kaito observed, glancing at Kizaru.
If you want, I can hand it over directly.
Kizaru offered without hesitation. Momousagi and the others remained silent, aware of Kaito's power. If he were provoked, they might be trapped here indefinitely.
No, I'm not interested. This mess was all Bullet's doing.
Kaito shook his head.
Since the record pointer is in your hands, let this farce end here. I'll take care of Bullet. No problem.
As the two spoke, the conflict effectively ended. The Big Mom pirates who had been present were forgotten in the aftermath.
You're Kaido, I know you. You're the one who killed Baron Egg.
Cracker said, irritated, scanning for his presence. Kaido turned to face him, indifference radiating. His aura surged outward like Poseidon rising, the atmosphere around him thick and oppressive.
What? Who are you? Shut the hell up.
Kizaru frowned slightly, gesturing to Momosagi and the others to step back, quietly observing. To them, Kaido and Katakuri were just pirates' predators among predators. Boom! A monstrous roar echoed, and Hancock appeared before Kaido, her expression grim.
What? You dare bully my future husband?
Boa Hancock, since when is Kaido your husband? Why is there no intel from the seas? Are you protecting him?
Cracker asked, initially puzzled, then disdainful.
For your information, Shichibukai are strong, but outside of Hawkeye, none are worth noting.
Redfield quipped.
Yo, Captain, haven't seen you in days. And yet, you've gotten the most beautiful woman in the seas, the Pirate Queen.
Redfield joked.
Don't overthink, I'm just.
Kaido shook his head.
Haven't you heard of love at first sight?
Hancock pouted displeased.
Cracker, let's go.
Katakuri's serious gaze swept over Kaido and the others.
We act now.
Chapter 410, Resolution Among Pirates.
Katakuri-san.
Cracker muttered, puzzled.
Go.
Katakuri's voice carried authority, sharp and commanding.
Understood.
Cracker shot a fierce look at Kaido, a mix of unwillingness and tension in his eyes.
Wait, did I say you could go?
Kaido turned calmly, his tone flat and unreadable. Silently, Redfield appeared in front of Cracker, his paper umbrella in hand. Clang! With a faint smile, he drew a bamboo sword, the cold gleam of steel reflecting a deadly intent. Katakuri and the others stepped forward cautiously, taking in the situation. Casting a deep glance at Redfield, Kaido turned as Cracker asked coldly.
You know this is going to start a war with the Big Mom pirates, don't you? Big Mom pirates, fine. If it's war you want, then let's have it.
Kaido sneered, giving a cruel smile.
All right, let's see how strong you really are, a pirate with a 1.5 billion berries bounty. Are you really as formidable as the rumors claim?
Cracker asked, a wicked smile tugging at the corners of his mouth.
Silence, Cracker.
Katakuri interjected solemnly.
And what exactly do you want?
Cracker pressed.
Apologize, and I'll let you go.
Kaido said with calm indifference.
What did you say? Apologize?
Cracker's expression darkened. In an instant, he flashed before Kaido, his long sword gleaming with deadly light. Clang! The dull clash of metal echoed, yet Kaido's expression remained serene. Standing beside him, Redfield effortlessly parried Cracker's attack with his bamboo sword, smiling.
Hey, you all started it. Don't blame me.
Kaido said coldly. Katakuri turned to his subordinates, a solemn expression on his face.
We apologize. This time it was our fault. I am sorry.
He said, bowing 90 degrees to Kaido. His companions flushed red, a mix of unwillingness, anger, and shock crossing their faces.
Fine, I'll let you go this time. Go back and tell Big Mom that in a few days we'll visit Cake Island personally and we'll have a long talk.
Kaido said, giving Katakuri a long, piercing look. Beside him, Redfield remained standing silently, a faint smile on his face.
Katakuri-san.
Cracker muttered, his pride wounded, watching the scene unfold. The same was true for the other Big Mom pirates. In their eyes, Katakuri had always been invincible. Today, however.
Let's go.
Katakuri ordered solemnly. He led his crew away safely. From a distance, Kaido's indifferent voice echoed. Cracker shot a fierce look at Kaido, a mix of unwillingness and tension in his eyes. Wait, did I say you could go? Kaido turned calmly, his tone flat and unreadable. Silently, Redfield appeared in front of Cracker, his paper umbrella in hand. Clang! With a faint smile, he drew a bamboo sword, the cold gleam of steel reflecting a deadly intent. Katakuri and the others stepped forward cautiously, taking in the situation. Casting a deep glance at Redfield, Kaido turned as Cracker asked coldly, You know this is going to start a war with the Big Mom pirates, don't you? Big Mom pirates, fine. If it's war you want, then let's have it, Kaido sneered, giving a cruel smile. All right, let's see how strong you really are, a pirate with a 1.5 billion berries bounty. Are you really as formidable as the rumors claim? Cracker asked, a wicked smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. Silence, Cracker, Katakuri interjected solemnly. And what exactly do you want? Cracker pressed. Apologize and I'll let you go, Kaido said with calm indifference. What did you say? Apologize? Cracker's expression darkened. In an instant he flashed before Kaido, his long sword gleaming with deadly light. Clang! The dull clash of metal echoed, yet Kaido's expression remained serene. Standing beside him, Redfield effortlessly parried Cracker's attack with his bamboo sword, smiling. Hey, you all started it, don't blame me, Kaido said coldly. Katakuri turned to his subordinates, a solemn expression on his face. We apologize, this time it was our fault. I am sorry, he said, bowing 90 degrees to Kaido. His companions flushed red, a mix of unwillingness, anger, and shock crossing their faces. Fine, I'll let you go this time. Go back and tell Big Mom that in a few days we'll visit Cake Island personally and we'll have a long talk, Kaido said, giving Katakuri a long, piercing look. Beside him, Redfield remained standing silently, a faint smile on his face. Katakuri-san, Cracker muttered, his pride wounded, watching the scene unfold. The same was true for the other Big Mom pirates. In their eyes, Katakuri had always been invincible. Today, however.
Kaido-kun, you don't have a ship, right? Follow this concubine.
Boa Hancock called out urgently.
No need, we have our own ship.
Kaito replied, shaking his head. His mind was focused on the series of matters awaiting him, and he had no interest in flirting with Boa Hancock. As they departed, Hancock's frustration was evident.
Damn it.
She muttered, stomping the ground before vanishing in a flash.
Yo, let's move, what a pity, I wanted to see their fight.
Kizaru said, disappointment lacing his tone as he watched the now quiet island.
Kizaru-san, even if no deal was made, the Eternal Pointer has already been secured. It's only a matter of time.
Mama Usagi said with a laugh, her beauty captivating.
True, let's go.
Kizaru nodded in agreement. With their departure, the once turbulent treasure island fell silent. At sea, the Big Mom pirates aboard their ship, led by Katakuri, were subdued, faces heavy with unease.
Katakuri-san, I don't understand. What are you apologizing for? We couldn't beat Kizaru, but does that mean we couldn't defeat Kaido?
Cracker asked, frustration evident in his tone. Though the others stayed silent, their expressions mirrored Cracker's. The Big Mom pirates among the four emperors hardly needed to apologize. If they were incapable, they would fight. Who else could they fear, unless the person is Big Mom herself? The realization left them embarrassed and resentful. If today's incident spread, it would be a huge embarrassment for the Big Mom pirates across the New World.
If we hadn't apologized, everyone would have died, myself included. Even if Mother came, the result would be the same.
Katakuri said as he walked toward the cabin. Much had happened today, and he needed to report back clearly, no matter the mission's failure. After Katakuri left, the crew turned to Owen, eyes filled with curiosity, hoping he could provide clarity. Seeing their expressions, Owen frowned and sighed.
Katakuri is right. If he hadn't apologized, we would have stayed here.
And it's true, even if Mother intervened, the outcome would be no different.
How is that possible? Owen-san, you're lying, right?
Cracker exclaimed, disbelief clear in his voice. Owen glanced at the group solemnly.
Do you recognize the man with the paper umbrella and red cloak?
Yes, that guy is incredible.
Praline exclaimed.
Incredible barely covers it.
Owen said, eyes distant as memory surfaced.
His name is Redfield, known as the Red Earl Peter Redfield. He was from the same era as Whitebeard and Roger. Peter Redfield, him, isn't he dead?
Cracker stammered, shock and disbelief etched on his face.
Cracker-san, you know him.
Praline asked, confused. Cracker remained silent, eyes narrowing at Owen like a predator.
Owen-san, are you certain this is the Red Earl? Yes, absolutely.
Owen confirmed with conviction.
It's him. If so, an apology wouldn't be so bad.
Cracker muttered, tension easing slightly from his shoulders.
Owen-san, Cracker-san, make it clear. Don't confuse us.
Chapter 411, The Red Earl Returns.
But his fame and strength surpass the current era's strongest by far. In fact, the Red Earl alone could rival the combined might of the Roger Pirates and Whitebeard Pirates.
Owen continued, detailing Redfield's legendary feats.
Brother Owen, are you serious? How can one man compete with the Whitebeard Pirates and Roger's crew from over a decade ago?
Cracker exclaimed, disbelief etched across his face. The others were equally stunned, struggling to comprehend the magnitude of Owen's words.
Brother Owen, you said even if our mother appeared, he would not be her match. Is that true?
Praline asked cautiously, hope glimmering in her eyes. All eyes turned to Owen, silently seeking affirmation.
I cannot say for certain.
Owen admitted.
But over 10 years ago, Whitebeard fought Redfield one-on-one and lost by a single decisive move.
Everyone went silent, the implications sinking in. 10 years ago, Redfield was arguably the strongest in the seas. 10 years later, even if his power had waned slightly, he could still stand toe-to-toe with the mightiest, perhaps rivaling Whitebeard himself. The room was heavy with tension, as the sheer legend of the Red Earl left its mark on everyone.
Don't overthink it.
Owen said, breaking the silence.
The Red Earl has allied with Kaido's pirate group, granting them the credibility and strength to challenge the 5 emperors. It's possible Kaido's group might target our crew first.
Owen glanced at Cracker, then made his way toward the cabin. There was no time for deliberation. The best course of action was to inform their mother and prepare for any forthcoming battle. The World Expo had concluded with Marine securing the Laludev Eternal Pointer. 3 days later, the news spread rapidly through Morgan's agency, and the seas once again became turbulent. The first sensation was the explosive rise of Bullet, followed by the clash between Katakuri and Margot, the 2 vice-captains of the Big Mom pirates. Eventually, reports of the battle with Marine confirmed Bullet's defeat, making him one of the most notorious pirates in the world, surpassing even Kaido in fame. His past as a member of the Roger Pirates only added to the intrigue. Marine forces, eager to seize pirates during the Expo, captured several pirate ships including the accidentally caught Cavendish. Buena Festa, the Expo organizer, was also apprehended, though Bullet was rescued by an unknown benefactor and vanished. After Bullet's escape, pirates across the seas breathed easier, aware that his power alone could wreak havoc if contained by Marine. 4 emperors, Whitebeard pirates. Marco and the other crew leaders reported to Whitebeard with solemn expression.
Oyaji, this is what happened.
Whitebeard laughed heartily, swirling his wine.
Ha, I thought I'd seen the last of that old fellow. I never imagined he'd reappear and even join Kaido's pirate group. Truly, the older I get, the more surprises the sea holds. Wonderful, another old friend returns. Your father won't feel lonely.
Whitebeard's eyes gleamed with nostalgia.
To celebrate Redfield's return, little ones, prepare a banquet.
Marco, however, felt conflicted.
Pubs!
Whitebeard waved it off with a chuckle.
Let it wait, my old friend's return is worth celebrating first.
Meanwhile, the Red Hair Pirates were also abuzz. Ben Beckman handed a newspaper to Shanks.
Look who has appeared.
Shanks's eyes lit up as he scanned the report, the expression of surprise quickly settling into serious contemplation.
Bullet appeared at the Expo. The Eternal Pointer was launched into the sea by his captain, and only someone of his caliber could have acquired it. Incredible.
Shanks said. Ben Beckman exhaled calmly, forming a smoke ring.
Don't be overly surprised. Bullet is indeed powerful, but he's no longer what he used to be. Remember, you are the captain of the Red Hair Pirates and now one of the 4 emperors.
Rue, eating barbecue nearby, chimed in with a smile.
Captain, don't look so serious. Enjoy this moment.
Yasop added.
And if anyone dares to trouble you, we'll handle them.
Shanks's expression softened at last.
Everyone, to celebrate the reappearance of old friends at sea, will hold a banquet. Excellent.
Big Mom Pirates. In the shadowed castle, Katakuri recounted the events to the trembling members of his crew.
Mother, this is what happened. We need a plan.
He urged. Charlotte Linland's cold voice echoed like a demon, striking fear into all nearby. Red Earl, Bullet, and Kaito, they formed a pirate group together. Chapter 412, Kaito's Pirates Crew Make Waves. Beasts Pirates. A mummified Kaito sat on his imposing throne, flanked by his two top subordinates, Queen and King.
Kaido-sama, the latest intelligence has arrived. The mastermind behind the World Expo is a former Pirate King member, Devil Descendants Bullet.
King reported, his tone serious. During that period, both the Big Mom pirates and Whitebeard pirates sent participants, but in the end, Marine succeeded and seized the Eternal Pointer. Kaido waved his hand lazily.
These details are irrelevant. Once I fully recover from my injuries, I will never forgive that brat.
His voice was weak, but his intent was unmistakable.
Understood, Kaido-sama. Leave everything to me.
King replied solemnly. Kaido's tone remained icy.
I owe thanks to your timely arrival, otherwise I could have been compromised. And Kizaru.
Kaido's voice was flat but carried a chilling weight.
It will take time for my body to fully recover, and the scars may remain forever. Next time you target Kaido, count me in. We can't let this slide.
Queen said, his voice sharp.
As you wish.
Kaido's gaze was icy, his eyes glowing like lanterns. He visualized using his devil fruit awakening to slowly repair his body, a process marked by cold, unbearable pain he would never forget.
Kaido, wait. Our next meeting will be your end.
Kaido roared silently. Marine Headquarters, Marineford.
How is it? Will the equipment allow for quick recovery?
An officer asked softly.
Yes, but...
Sengoku's authoritative voice carried over the line.
A month, Ace has already been captured and Whitebeard will soon be informed. 1 month.
Sengoku replied gravely.
I don't like it. The 5th Emperor is about to appear at sea.
Officer Crane muttered, concerned. Will Kaido's bounty increase?
Yes, by the way, his pirate group has been exposed. Do we even know the name?
Sengoku gritted his teeth.
No, sir.
The officer admitted.
Then omit the name. Just make Kaido the brightest presence at sea tomorrow.
Sengoku ordered.
Even if we try to strike at Kaido, what about the Red Earl? They may be unstoppable together.
The officer worried.
It doesn't matter. Let them clash fiercely. The stronger they fight, the more costly it becomes for them, not us.
Sengoku replied, surrounded by the antiseptic smell of the ward.
Understood. Rest well.
He ended the call. 3 days later, West Blue. On a bustling street, people discussed the recent World Expo, animatedly debating the events. Suddenly, sheets of white newsprint fell from the sky like snow.
Oh, here's the news. Let me see.
A young man exclaimed, picking up a paper. Suddenly, his body trembled, his pupils dilated and shock overtook him. He could not hide his disbelief. Reed, standing nearby, noticed the reaction and patted the youth on the shoulder.
Belle, what's wrong? Are you all right?
Thump. Bell collapsed to the ground, muttering.
Something has happened. Something.
What is the matter? You're overreacting.
Reed frowned. Other bystanders noticed Bell's reaction and leaned in, picking up newspapers that had fallen from the sky. Thump. Another man also trembled uncontrollably, riveted by the shocking news. The reaction confirmed the gravity of the situation.
It's serious.
Reed muttered, grabbing the paper from Bell. On the front page, Kaido Pirates, group name not yet public. Captain Kaido. The photo showed Kaido with a reward of 5 billion berries. Crew, Red Earl Redfield, bounty 4.5 billion berries. Only 500 million less than Kaido, underscoring Redfield's formidable strength. Crew, Devil Descendants Bullet, bounty 2 billion berries. Crew, The Blind Swordsman, bounty 2 billion berries. The news sparked a frenzy across the seas. Previously, Bullet had drawn attention, but now the Kaido pirates dominated the headlines, surpassing him multiple times over. North Blue, an icy port town. The taverns buzzed with excitement as patrons read the newspaper.
Kaido, he's the one who defeated the Golden Lion, but 5 billion berries, that's enormous. Whitebeard himself only exceeded that slightly. Does this guy rival Whitebeard now? Marine really exaggerates.
A pirate scoffed.
Sure, Bullet is strong, but what about the Red Earl and the blind swordsman?
4.5 billion for Redfield, 2 billion for the blind swordsman. Chapter 413, The Thunder Emperor Declares War. The endless sea roared beneath the keel of a massive three-masted ship cutting through the waves with incredible speed. On the sun-bleached deck, Kaido held a crumpled newspaper between his fingers, the corner of his mouth lifting into a cold sneer.
Marine, you really went all out.
He muttered, eyes narrowing with amusement.
Trying to roast us alive for the world to see.
A soft chuckle came from behind him.
This is a blatant trap.
Redfield remarked, leaning calmly on his cane.
They want us to walk right into it.
Everyone in the New World knew the rule. Strength equals bounty. And Marine had just raised Kaido's bounty to 5 billion berries, placing him side by side with Whitebeard himself. It was a declaration to the entire C1 meant to turn Kaido and his crew into public enemies while stirring hostility from the four emperors. Even worse, refusing to respond would be seen as an admission that Marine's claims were true. A trap with 3 layers. Classic Marine ruthlessness. Kaido's experience sharpened by countless battles let him unravel Marine's intentions instantly. If anyone weaker had been caught in this, they might hide or deny everything, waiting for the storm to fade. But Kaido was not anyone. His strength surpassed the 4 emperors. Even if all 4 attacked at once, fear wasn't something he understood.
Marine,
He said softly, voice like distant thunder.
I'll show you what a true disaster looks like.
Redfield's eyes flickered.
Captain,
Kaido folded the newspaper, gaze steady.
After this article, the entire New World is gonna be hunting us. There's only one path forward, a battle fierce enough to shake the world. We prove our power, crush our doubts, and break Marine's strategy in one blow.
Redfield nodded slowly.
Marine tried to make you a Shichibukai before. You stalled the offer and now they retaliate. They must have realized letting you join would threaten the balance. Exactly.
Kaido replied.
They know our strength is beyond their expectations. If I joined the Shichibukai, Sengoku wouldn't sleep again.
Bullet suddenly burst out of the cabin, eyes glowing with excitement.
Then what do we do, Captain? Are we really going after one of the 4 emperors?
Kaido waved a hand, calming him.
Not yet. First, we carve our name into the sea.
Redfield raised a brow.
a pirate name.
Kaido nodded.
The Thunder Pirates.
As he spoke, the black in his eyes dissolved, replaced by brilliant violet rings, his Rinnegan. Gray-black lightning crackled around his body, dancing wildly like a living storm. For a moment, he stood like a god of thunder ready to tear apart heaven and earth. Redfield clicked his tongue.
A Logia of Lightning.
Bullet stiffened from instinct alone. Even Isho's calm expression tightened as he felt the deadly pressure radiating from Kaido's lightning. With a sigh, Kaido suppressed the thunder and returned to normal.
It's only to show you our crew's direction.
Redfield exhaled deeply.
At this point, even Whitebeard might not match you. 5 billion berries fits.
Kaido raised his hand, space distorted, tearing open like fragile cloth. From the rift, he retrieved a tightly folded black canvas. Unfurled, the pirate flag revealed a white skull whose eyes glowed with eerie purple light. Silver lightning coiled around it, wrapping the bones like living serpents. Redfield nodded with approval.
This matches the captain well. I'll hang it.
Bullet declared, snatching the flag and fastening it at the highest point of the ship's mast. The thunder-marked skull billowed against the wind, announcing a new era.
With our name and flag set.
Redfield said.
All that's left is the battle you mentioned. Correct.
Kaido replied.
And our first target is.
Redfield froze.
Kaido, the one you cut in half, he survived. I only tore his body apart. With his Zoan fruit and awakening, it's possible he regenerated. Either way, whether he's alive or not doesn't concern me. What I want is his territory on Onigashima, the gateway to Wano. Once Kaido falls, we claim his land and establish our base.
Kaido's gaze sharpened, voice turning colder.
After that, we eliminate the remaining emperors, unify the new world, and then seize Marine and the world government.
Redfield took a long breath.
Destroying the world government.
Kaido said.
There's the Revolutionary Army.
Redfield blinked. Will they join us or become enemies?
That depends on Dragon's choice. I don't care either ways. We'll visit their headquarters soon.
He paused.
And while we're at it, we'll let the new world know that the purple-eyed Thunder Emperor pirates have arrived. Anyone who wants to challenge us is welcome. Welcome to die.
Chapter 414, Storm of Revolution. Dividing the island into two contrasting halves, one barren and rocky, the other lush and green, Ulster Island waited quietly under the moonlight. Near the edge of the desolate terrain, Kaido and his crew stood, a sense of anticipation lingering in the night air. Their massive pirate ship bobbed gently nearby, the thunder flag waving high on its mast.
Captain, are you sure they'll come to challenge us?
Bullet asked, his excitement barely contained.
You said those pirates would dare to die for this.
Kaido relaxed, a faint smile on his lips.
Maybe, or maybe they're just afraid.
His tone was calm, but his eyes held a dangerous promise.
Either way, just be ready.
Shouldn't we recruit more people first?
Redfield suggested.
If we strike at the four emperors, we'll need all the strength we can muster. There's no rush to gather many.
Kaido replied, shaking his head.
If we recruit too soon when the war comes, too many will be exposed.
He paused, then added.
Enjoy yourselves here for now. I must leave for the Revolutionary Army.
Isho looked worried.
You want to go alone. The Revolutionary Army is massive third only to the world government and Marine. It's dangerous.
Kaido shrugged, a steady glint in his violet eyes.
I need to go alone. Dragon can't stop me.
Redfield frowned.
You're sure this is safe?
Don't worry about me.
Kaido said confidently.
I trust you all to hold down the fort. I'll see Dragon myself.
With that, Kaido drew in a slow breath, focused, and then soared into the sky, lightning flickering faintly around him. In seconds, his figure vanished into the darkness. Once he was gone, Redfield smiled, a quiet determination in his eyes.
Let's not worry too much. With the captain's strength, the Revolutionary Army won't restrain him. Meanwhile, we'll show the world we exist.
Bullet stretched, cracking his joints noisily.
Some pirates might come soon. Do you want to test them?
Redfield nodded.
Go ahead, but take it easy. You just got healed.
Bullet grinned fiercely.
No worries, I'll warm up.
He stomped off toward their ship, bones clicking as he moved, eager for action. Kaido's journey back to the Grand Line was swift. The air around him crackled with gray lightning as he flew across the sky, until in just a couple of hours he reached the Sabyati archipelago. Using an illusion technique to mask his identity, he slipped into the black market. There, he secured a navigational log pointing him to Baldigo, the Revolutionary Army's stronghold. With this in hand, he took flight again, his path lit only by the pale glow of the crescent moon and countless distant stars. When he arrived, Kaido descended quietly onto the deserted shores of Baldigo. He frowned at the calmness of the island. Something about the situation felt off. He approached a large iron gate. With a mechanical click, it swung open, and a figure stepped forward. Koala, an officer of the Revolutionary Army. She wore a pink outfit, red-goggled cap, her short orange hair glowing dimly in the moonlight, and her heel made soft clacks on the ground.
Welcome, honored guest.
Koala said softly, though surprise flickered in her eyes.
Dragon-sama has been expecting you.
Kaido arched an eyebrow.
How did he know I was coming? I'm supposed to be busy in the new world.
Koala lowered her head slightly.
That's not for me to say. Please come inside.
She led him through winding, shadow-filled corridors until they entered a warmly lit hall. There, Dragon-sama sat on a simple but dignified mahogany chair. 2 cups of tea steamed gently on a low table beside him. The aura he radiated was calm, majestic, and quietly authoritative, a leader born, not made. Standing discreetly behind Dragon was Sabo, his second in command. His eyes tracked Kaido cautiously, intelligent and wary. Dragon gestured for Kaido to sit. Without hesitation, Kaido took a seat and raised the teacup to his lips.
How did you know I would come here?
He asked, amused. Dragon reached down and picked up a nearby pigeon, stroking its feathers with calm precision.
Our intelligence isn't only on the ground.
He replied softly.
It's in the sky, too.
Kaido's eyes narrowed slightly, delighting in the confirmation.
Lightning,
Dragon nodded.
Your power is very visible, Kaido. It's been noticed.
Kaido leaned forward, placing his teacup down gently.
I didn't come merely to visit.
He said steadily.
I want the Revolutionary Army to join my pirate crew.
As soon as he spoke, Sabo's face hardened.
Impossible.
He said angrily, voice ringing in the silent room.
Absolutely impossible.
Dragon's expression remained calm, but his eyes glinted dangerously. The atmosphere tensed, charged like a storm waiting to break. Kaido sipped his tea, his smile steady.
Trust me, if you refuse, you will lose.
Sabo drew his sword lightly, stepping forward, but Dragon raised a hand to stop him. Kaido didn't flinch. He set the cup down and continued, voice calm but resolute.
I did not come here for mere honor. I came because I want to unify this chaotic sea. I want to end its turmoil. I will lead my crew and your forces together to overthrow the world government.
The room was utterly still now. Sabo's grip on his sword remained tight, but Dragon's face softened, though his eyes stayed sharp. Sabo broke the silence first.
You want to take down not only Marine, but also the 4 emperors. Do you truly believe you can?
Kaido smiled and nodded.
I do. Your ideals and mine align. But you must see, you don't need to stay separate. Join me and we'll build something new, something strong enough to change the world.
Dragon considered Kaido for a long minute. Then he spoke, tone steady, measured.
Your vision is bold, but this is not a small undertaking. The 4 emperors are not easily toppled.
Kaido rose to his feet as he stretched his back nonchalantly.
I know, but I have no base here, no name beyond the storms I bring. Next time when we meet, we talk business again.
He bowed lightly, neither proud nor submissive. Then he turned and began to walk out. Dragon watched him go. Quietly he said,
You don't have to do this alone. Take your place in our fight, and together, I believe your vision could become real.
Kaido paused at the door, giving a small smile over his shoulder.
One day.
Chapter 415, A Thunder Pact with the Revolutionaries.
No need, wait for me to sweep the new world and destroy the 4 emperors, then we can talk. When that day comes, your revolutionary army will definitely join my pirate crew.
Kaido said. Hearing his determination, Dragon leaned forward, interest flickering in his eyes.
Yes, if you truly conquer the new world and make it yours, then you can earn our allegiance.
Sabo's frustration broke through. He opened his mouth to argue, but Dragon held out a hand to stop him, his gaze fixed steadily on Kaido. The light in Dragon's eyes shifted as if thousands of possibilities flickered within them like a blade trying to pierce through Kaido's resolve. But Kaido remained calm, his expression unflinching, the weight of his presence as solid as a mountain.
Then it's settled.
Dragon said at last. With a silent flash, Ayanami Kaido vanished from the room. Sabo leapt up, bewildered.
Why did Dragon-san accept his terms so quickly?
Dragon looked up at the crescent moon hanging in the dark sky. He drew in a slow breath, his voice low but firm.
If he can truly subjugate the New World pirates and dominate their seas, then he has the strength to challenge the world government itself. He might become the 3rd great power at sea alongside us. If he succeeds, there are only 2 paths left for him: join our revolutionary army or face the world government alone. Which of those 2 is weaker? If we bet on him, we keep our options and our freedom.
His words landed like thunder in Sabo's heart.
Of course.
Dragon added with a wry smile, patting Sabo on the shoulder.
All of this depends on one thing, that Kaido really unifies the new world. That is no small task, but for now.
The next morning, Kaido opened his eyes in a modest inn. He ate a simple breakfast, then paid his respects at a nearby shrine before preparing to depart. By dusk, he returned to the shoreline, his face falling at what he saw. Scattered wooden planks floated in the water, broken pirate ships drifted, their hulls cracked, the sea itself was stained red.
I was only gone for a day.
He said quietly, looking at the 3 crewmen waiting for him.
How many did you take down? Yo, Captain's back.
Bullet called out, greeting him with a wide grin. Kaido crossed his arms displeased.
The sea's blood red, this region.
Redfield said, tilting his head half amused. Kaido sighed inwardly. He had braced for disaster, perhaps imagined far worse so.
Only a few hundred.
Felt almost.
Captain,
Redfield said, stepping forward.
was the talk with the Revolutionary Army successful?
Kaido nodded slowly.
They made a promise. First, we wipe out all our enemies, then move on to Kaido's territory.
Agreement swept across their faces. Redfield smiled.
A battle is coming.
Kaido rubbed his chin thoughtful.
Rest here for a day, then we head to Wano, Kaido's domain. That's where we begin.
3 days later, Kaido stood at the bow of his pirate ship, gazing out at the open sea. He called out calmly.
Are you ready for Wano?
Redfield opened a navigational map.
We've sailed deep into the new world. Right now, we're close to where the Big Mom Pirates' domain meets Kaido's territory. We should reach Kaido's sphere in about an hour.
He paused.
His real power is in Wano. The forces we've seen outside are just decoys, cannon fodder, or eye-catchers, not his true strength.
Kaido shook his head.
Then once we're there, we go straight in.
Suddenly, Isho pointed.
There's a ship, and it looks wrecked.
Redfield frowned, scanning the sea.
That vessel is hardly seaworthy. How long has it been adrift?
Kaido narrowed his eyes, his Sharingan flickering to life. Something about that boat. Redfield said, stepping forward. Was the talk with the Revolutionary Army successful? Kaido nodded slowly. They made a promise. First, we wipe out all our enemies, then move on to Kaido's territory. Agreement swept across their faces. Redfield smiled. A battle is coming. Kaido rubbed his chin, thoughtful. Rest here for a day, then we head to Wano, Kaido's domain. That's where we begin. 3 days later, Kaido stood at the bow of his pirate ship, gazing out at the open sea. He called out calmly, Are you ready for Wano? Redfield opened a navigational map. We've sailed deep into the new world. Right now, we're close to where the Big Mom Pirates' domain meets Kaido's territory. We should reach Kaido's sphere in about an hour. He paused. His real power is in Wano. The forces we've seen outside are just decoys, cannon fodder, or eye-catchers, not his true strength. Kaido shook his head. Then once we're there, we go straight in. Suddenly, Isho pointed. There's a ship and it looks wrecked. Redfield frowned, scanning the sea. That vessel is hardly seaworthy. How long has it been adrift? Kaido narrowed his eyes, his Sharingan flickering to life. Something about that boat.
You know who they are.
Kaido nodded.
That must be Momosuke, the only surviving son of Kazuki Oden. He's just escaped Wano. Wait!
Redfield said, brows furrowing.
Oden's family was killed by Kaido 10 years ago.
Kaido's lips curved.
There's more to this story than history knows.
Before he could explain further, a call rang out from the battered ship, a familiar voice.
Is there anyone there? Can you help us board?
On board stood Kinemon, clutching Momonosuke tightly. Alongside them were Reizo and Kenjuro, their faces strained but resolute. Several of their companions looked at Kaido's crew with desperate hope. Bullet stepped forward, a hard smile forming.
Captain, do we kill them or take them in?
He knew the legend of the Kazuki, what they represented to Wano's people. Despite Kaido's tyranny, many still believed in the Kazuki's return. Redfield watched silently torn. Kanjuro, Reizo, and Kinemon exchanged glances. Even in escape, they were ready to protect Momonosuke with their lives. For them, this young heir was their only hope. Kinemon spoke first, voice wavering.
We will not be a burden. We will go away if that is your wish.
Kaido studied Momonosuke in Kinemon's arms. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he turned to Bullet.
Bullet, what do you think?
Bullet's grin turned cold.
Since he's a Kazuki descendant.
Redfield's jaw tightened.
That's ruthless. You fought beside Kazuki Oden once.
Chapter 416, the Kazuki heir meets his end. Kenjiro stared at Bullet in disbelief.
My name is Bullet. Looks like you just escaped from Wano and haven't heard a thing. I sailed on the Roger Pirate's ship.
Bullet shrugged casually. He then turned to Redfield.
And you're wrong about one thing. Kazuki Oden and I never got along. If not for the captain and first mate, I'd have beaten that man senseless, always acting righteous and pretending to be pure-hearted. Don't speak about my father like that.
Momonosuke yelled from Kinnaman's arms, glare burning with anger.
Your father, Kazuki Oden's son.
Bullet frowned.
At your age, impossible. You should be a grown man, so you're a fake.
He stepped forward, murderous will erupting from him, thick and suffocating like a battlefield drenched in blood.
You dare pretend to be Kazuki Oden's son? Even if I didn't like Oden, I won't tolerate imposters. Don't blame me for crushing you.
Even Bullet, reckless as he was, understood what awaited them in Wano. The name Kazuki Oden still held enormous influence among its people. The Roger Pirates had seen firsthand how Oden commanded respect during their visit. Issho had already declared these survivors a threat. Bullet trusted that judgment. Issho and Redfield balanced brains and strength. Bullet himself was simple hit what needed to be hit. Momonosuke shook violently, terror flooding his face.
Sir, we really are Kazuki Oden-sama's retainers. Please, for Oden-sama's sake, let us go.
Kenjiro fell to his knees, forehead touching the deck. The murderous pressure froze their limbs. It felt like stepping into Oden's battlefield again, the same killing intent Kaido unleashed when the two clashed. Kinnaman stared at Bullet's silhouette, heart pounding. Then he remembered the name Douglas Bullet. Oden had spoken of him, a monster, a battle fanatic born for destruction.
You're Douglas Bullet.
Kinnaman muttered. Bullet smirked.
If you've heard of me, then you know what Oden used to call me. A battle maniac, a reckless brute.
Kinnaman bowed deeply.
Bullet-sama.
Bullet's lips curled into a hungry grin, predatory and cold. Seeing that expression, Kinnaman's face darkened. He understood their fate was sealed. Kaido chuckled softly.
Enough, stop playing with them. Send them on their way. Why?
Momonosuke roared through clenched teeth.
We've never wronged you. We don't even know you.
Kaido stepped forward, grin widening.
Since you're Oden's son, I'll tell you. I'm going to Wano. I plan to delete Kaido, then take Wano for myself. Your Kazuki clan has too much influence. I won't allow a second voice in my territory.
His expression turned cold.
As a gift, I'll personally send you off.
A sudden burst of suction tore through the air. Momonosuke was ripped from Kinnaman's grasp and pulled into Ayanami Kaido's hand.
Young master!
Kinnaman, Reizo, and Kenjiro immediately charged forward, weapons drawn.
Clowns!
Redfield muttered. With a flick of his wrist, a swarm of blood-red bats erupted from his hand, circling the three retainers and attacking in a flurry of teeth and wings.
Damn it!
Kinnaman swung desperately, slashing at the bats, but more kept coming. Their bites grew deeper, venom spreading through muscle and bone.
Their fangs!
Kinnaman shouted, biting his own tongue to stay conscious. Reizo staggered, equally pale. Kenjiro was nearly collapsed already.
Looks like Momonosuke and the others are finished.
Kenjiro, trembling, pulled out his brush. While barely resisting the bats, he sketched a powerful eagle with frantic strokes. In a breath, the painting came alive. Kenjiro leapt onto it, commanding it skyward. Redfield and Bullet watched him ascend with detached amusement.
Huh?
High above, Kenjiro exhaled in relief. Then, F-woom. A razor-sharp slash shot upward, cleaving the eagle clean in half. Kenjiro plummeted but twisted his body, aligning himself to fall away from Kaido's crew. If he landed far enough, he could still run. But reality was cruel. A shadow engulfed him. A storm of bats swarmed from the sky, tearing, biting, dragging him down. He had no strength left to resist. They dropped him onto Kaido's ship, unconscious. On deck, Kinnaman and Reizo lay lifeless, drained dry by Redfield's bats. Momonosuke, trapped in Kaido's grip, stared at him with bloodshot eyes full of hatred.
I don't like that look.
Kaido said plainly.
Since you're going to join your father, I won't waste more time.
With effortless strength, Ayanami Kaido snapped Momonosuke's neck. He felt no guilt. In the original history he knew, Momonosuke hid behind his age while groping every woman he could Nami, Robin, and other females.
We're taking Wano.
Kaido said quietly.
And this.
Chapter 417, The Secret of Time. Throwing Momonosuke's body into the sea, Kaido turned his gaze toward the deck. There Kenjiro lay trembling, weak and pale. With a calm smile, Kaido spoke.
Should I call you Akasaka Kashiro Kanjuro or Kurizumi Kanjuro, the undercover rat serving Kurizumi Orochi, the false shogun? What?
Kenjiro collapsed onto the floor, fear burning in his eyes despite his desperate attempt to act confused. No one besides Kurizumi Orochi should have known the truth about his identity. Yet this man, Ayanami Kaido, had exposed it without hesitation.
How does he know? Did he make a deal with Orochi?
Kenjiro's thoughts spiraled wildly. Kaido shook his head.
It doesn't matter whether you admit it. Kaido and Kurizumi Orochi are my enemies, and so are you. Your identity changes nothing.
He stepped aside and gestured.
Momonosuke is already dead, so join him.
Redfield nodded slightly. Squeak squeak. A swarm of blood-red bats descended. Kanjiro screamed in terror, dying with deep unwillingness stamped across his expression. Thump thump. Redfield casually ordered the bats to drag the three corpses across the deck, tossing them into the sea before he walked back toward Kaido.
I don't understand.
Redfield muttered.
Why was Momonosuke so young? Yeah, it doesn't add up, Captain.
Bullet added.
When Kazuki Oden left our crew, Captain Roger brought us to Wano. Oden already had a son back then, Momonosuke. That was more than 10 years ago. The kid should be a teenager by now, not a child. And he didn't look fake either.
Bullet continued, scratching his head.
I remember the retainers. They were always with Oden, helping around his estate. His household servants protected that kid. That means he really was Kazuki Oden's son, but the age.
Bullet frowned deeply, completely confused.
It's simple.
Kaido replied.
What I was about to explain is this. Everything happened because of Kazuki Oden's wife, Momonosuke's mother.
He paused.
More than 10 years ago, when Kaido and Kurizumi Orochi joined forces to defeat Kazuki Oden and burn his clan, Oden's wife activated the power of her devil fruit. I don't know its original name, but you would envy her ability. What ability?
Bullet asked.
Time. Time? Does she manipulate time?
Isho asked. Kaido shook his head.
No, she doesn't manipulate it. She sends people through it. She pushes them forward across time itself.
Bullet, Isho, and Redfield all froze.
Time travel.
Bullet whispered, stunned. They had heard of slowing time, speeding time, but traveling through it was something else entirely. Even monsters like them found it hard to accept.
You mean they moved forward from the past, more than 10 years ago?
Bullet asked, voice trembling.
The side effects must be extreme.
Isho murmured. Redfield nodded thoughtfully.
It sounds less like a devil fruit and more like a sacrifice. A fruit that burns away everything to send its targets through time. That's right.
Kaido continued.
Kazuki Toki sacrificed her own life to send Momonosuke and Reizo forward into this era. Judging from their state, they must have arrived recently.
Redfield let out a small sigh.
Power like that always demands a price. I'm more curious how the captain knows all these secrets.
Isho and Bullet turned toward Kaido, waiting for an explanation.
It's just a kind of ability.
Kaido said dismissively, turning his eyes toward the distant sea. Redfield shook his head.
The captain isn't our enemy, so it doesn't matter.
An hour later, their pirate ship reached the waters belonging to Kaido. Before long, another ship entered view. The massive vessel was unmistakable, lined with spiked iron plating and the beast pirate's flag.
Stop where you are.
A voice boomed.
You have entered the territory of the beast pirates.
Bullet looked at Kaido eagerly.
What now, Captain? Don't waste time on them.
Kaido replied.
Kill them, we're heading straight to Wano. These small fry won't slow us down. Understood.
Isho said calmly. Clang! Isho drew his bamboo sword and swung it in a single clean arc. Hum! A majestic wave of sword energy erupted forth. A brilliant crescent of force shot ahead, growing rapidly as the wind fed its power. In moments, the slash expanded into a colossal pillar of cutting force, tearing across the sea. The ocean split apart, the waters on both sides shearing open like canvas, revealing a dark abyss below along with several startled sea kings. The parted sea refused to merge, as though an invisible wall held the water back. A sword that split the sea, the true mark of a master. The beast pirate's ship didn't even have time to respond. The colossal slash crashed into it, cleaving it cleanly in two. The halves sank immediately, vanishing beneath the waves without leaving survivors. After a long moment, the ocean slowly reunited, sealing away all traces of the destruction.
What an incredible blade.
Kaido said with admiration.
It's nothing compared to the captain.
Isho replied modestly, keeping his sword drawn as more beast pirates' ships approached from behind. They continued cutting their way through the enemy fleet until they reached a towering waterfall.
So we're here.
Bullet murmured.
If I remember right, Wano is at the top.
Redfield gazed upward.
A magnificent sight. An airborne waterfall isn't surprising.
Kaido remarked coolly.
Like a carp leaping toward the dragon gate.
Wano near the port. King and Queen stood at the battery fortifications, their expressions grim.
Do you know who this intruder is?
King asked.
No idea.
The subordinate replied through a den mushy, voice trembling.
All we know is that he's a swordsman. Every pirate ship we sent was destroyed with a single strike.
What pirate flag?
Queen demanded nervously.
Not Big Mom's, right? No, this ship had a purple-eyed emblem surrounded by lightning.
King and Queen stiffened, exchanging a horrified look. Sweat dripped down Queen's forehead.
The Thunder Pirates.
They whispered together.
Kaido.
Chapter 418, The Light Returns.
You can't mistake it.
King said grimly.
Only one man sails under that pirate flag. It belongs to Kaido.
Queen exhaled a shaky ring of smoke.
If it really is him, we're in trouble. Kaido-sama is still recovering from his injuries, and the two of us definitely can't handle that monster. And those outposts won't stop him.
Queen added angrily.
That giant flying beast he controls is terrifying. Its defense is ridiculous. Our weapons can't even scratch it.
King's expression darkened. Remove every outpost. We fall back to Onigashima. If this man came here, then his goal is the beast's pirates. He wants to strike while Kaido-sama is weakened.
We can't defend this place.
Queen muttered.
Let's go.
With that, the two all-stars retreated toward Wano's interior, gathering the remaining beast pirates along the way. Within minutes, the coastal outposts were abandoned, leaving only emptiness behind. After admiring the towering waterfall for a moment, Kaido and his crew exchanged looks.
How exactly do we get up there?
Bullet asked. Redfield chuckled helplessly.
The captain will find a way, as always.
Kaido simply smiled.
No problem.
He floated upward, hovering high above the ship. Then he extended his hand downward. A powerful suction force burst from his palm. The massive pirate ship trembled violently before lifting into the air as though weightless. Redfield's eyes widened.
Beautiful.
Above them, pine trees curled through the mist like green crescent moons, while elegant pavilions sat nestled among the clouds. Water cascaded in shimmering arcs, scattering iridescent reflections across the sky.
Even though I've been here once, the scenery always shocks me.
Bullet said softly. With steady control, Kaido guided the pirate ship to the waters above the waterfall.
There's no one guarding the fort ahead.
Isho said sharply.
It's fine.
Kaido replied.
They sensed us coming and retreated to their base. Exactly what I expected.
With no resistance, it wasn't long before they sailed to Wano's shore. They disembarked openly and without concern. After all, Kaido held the advantage and Kaido was weakened.
What will we do next, Captain? Charge straight at the beast's pirates?
Bullet asked with excitement.
Not yet.
Kaido replied calmly. He glanced at Issho, who had kept a quiet smile the whole time. He had overheard their earlier conversation. The silent longing in Issho's expression hadn't escaped him. How could a captain ignore his crew's regrets? Why not fix it? In countless worlds, including the Shinobi world, eyes were replaceable. Midora, Kakashi, countless Shinobi many had used another's eyes to regain what was lost. If such a simple act could restore Issho's vision, then Kaido would do it without hesitation. Bullet and Redfield exchanged confused looks.
I still don't understand.
Bullet muttered.
What does the captain mean?
Kaido smiled.
I'll help Issho see again. I plan to replace his eyes.
What? You plan to replace my eyes?
Issho tensed, shock rippling across his features. Even Bullet and Redfield were stunned. They had heard of miraculous recoveries, but never of someone replacing a person's eyes so casually. Issho's eyes, pale and pupilless, were unsettling to most, yet at this moment hope flickered within them.
From the look on your face, you truly want to see the world again.
Kaido said.
Come, I'll build a place we can work in.
Despite his disbelief, Issho bowed his head slightly.
Captain!
Kaido replied simply. With that, the group traveled deeper into Wano. Kaido raised his hands, and wooden pillars erupted from the ground, forming a large wooden house within moments. Redfield nodded approvingly.
A very useful ability.
He and Bullet silently watched, curious to see whether Kaido could truly accomplish something so impossible. Kaido reached into his pocket dimension and retrieved 2 small bottles, each containing a pair of pristine, translucent eyes.
This will hurt, endure it.
Issho inhaled deeply.
Compared to seeing the world again, this pain is nothing.
Without further delay, Kaido's fingers glowed faintly with medical chakra. He gently pressed his fingertips against Issho's eyes. With swift precision, he removed Issho's old eyes and replaced them with the new ones, then used medical ninjutsu to ease the pain and help the eyes settle. The crude simplicity of the process made Bullet and Redfield stiffen.
That's it.
Bullet whispered incredulously.
Is the captain serious?
Redfield narrowed his eyes, watching Issho carefully. Issho took a slow breath.
The burning sensation is gone, instead.
Kaido asked.
Yes.
Issho confirmed.
Good, then open your eyes.
As Kaido cleaned the tools, Issho hesitated for a long moment. Bullet muttered.
This can't be real.
Then Issho slowly opened his eyes. White. Blinding. The sudden brightness struck him so hard he flinched and closed them again reflexively. Yet even in that fraction of a second, he had seen something colors, faint shapes, the outline of the wooden house. His entire body trembled. 30 years. 30 long years of darkness. Redfield's gaze sharpened. He recognized the expression on Issho's face, the overwhelming instinctive reaction of someone who had lived in shadows suddenly meeting the light.
It works.
Redfield said softly.
Issho, you can see.
Issho nodded. Chapter 419, Restoring Issho's Sight. Ayanami Kaido watched calmly as Issho struggled to adjust to his restored sight.
Let them get used to the light. That reaction you had earlier is normal. Take your time, you'll adapt soon.
Kaido said with a gentle smile. He held out a sealed container.
These are your original eyes, keep them, they're still part of you. All right.
Issho replied respectfully, accepting the container without concern. He opened his eyes again, much more carefully. The world was still blurry, but shapes and colors gradually became clearer. Even though the brightness stung slightly, none of it mattered to him. 2 days passed quietly. The group remained nearby while Issho worked hard to familiarize himself with his new vision. During sunset, the sky was dyed in shades of crimson. Kaido sat by the doorway of the wooden house he had created, watching the last rays fade. A rare contentment flickered across his face.
Captain!
Issho called softly. He stepped outside, gazing at the sky with emotion thick in his voice.
This is the sunset.
Kaido said, his voice faint. He turned toward Issho.
How's the recovery? Perfect, everything has healed completely. I can fight at full strength anytime.
Ischo's lips curled upward unconsciously. His restored sight had lifted a weight from his soul, and the joy was still fresh in his heart.
Good.
Kaido nodded.
Then we attack Kaido's headquarters tomorrow. We can't delay any longer. Understood.
The next morning, with the faint light of dawn rising over the sea, Kaido and the others prepared themselves, ate a simple meal, and set off toward Onigashima. Despite lying low the past 2 days, they kept informed of Kaido's location and movements. Onigashima loomed ahead, shaped like a massive skull surrounded by mountainous ridges. The skull itself formed the main gateway, the only direct entrance into Kaido's domain. Inside the skull, the beast's pirates lived and operated. In the central hall, dimly lit by surrounding torches, Kaido sat heavily upon his throne. The bandages had been removed from his body. No wounds remained, except for a single massive scar running down his entire torso.
Where is Kaido now?
Kaido growled, his thunderous voice echoing through the hall.
They're still in the same area. We're not sure what they're doing.
King replied, frowning.
No need to worry, Kaido-sama.
Queen added.
Our flying unit is watching them from above. If anything changes, we'll know right away.
Bao stepped forward.
Also, all combat units are ready. The Flying Six, the Numbers, and the elite fighters have returned and assembled on Onigashima. They're waiting for your command.
Suddenly, a trembling subordinate burst into the room.
Kaido-sama, King-sama, Queen-sama, bad news. The Vivre card of Batman.
King replied coldly. The soldier fled. King's expression hardened. It seems they've begun to move. A sinister smile twisted Kaido's face as he touched the scar across his torso.
Good, very good. So they dare attack my headquarters.
Kaido roared.
Yes, Kaido-sama.
King and Queen responded in unison before rushing outside. Onigashima mobilizes. The orders spread instantly through the island. The colossal war machine of the beast's pirates roared to life. Soldiers poured toward the main gate, armed with rifles, cannons, and blades. 2 large turrets stood beside the gate, equipped with the most advanced heavy artillery the Marines had developed. Beyond the gate, artificial animal-type devil fruit users stood ready, those with forms resembling rabbits, sheep, and other weaker beasts. Deeper inside the palace grounds were stronger artificial fruits users, those with the traits of lions, elephants, and other powerful creatures. Onigashima was in full battle stance. A lookout peered through his telescope. Suddenly, a dark silhouette appeared on the distant sea. It sped forward rapidly until its shape became unmistakable. A massive 3-masted ship with several figures standing boldly upon the deck. A pirate flag fluttered in the wind.
They're here, the enemy has arrived. Open fire.
The lookout screamed. The beast pirates instantly unleashed a barrage of cannon fire. From the turrets, 2 massive blue beams shot out like lances of light. On the deck, Kaido, Isho, Bullet, and Redfield stood calmly despite the torrent of artillery.
They're quite enthusiastic, using their strongest weapons right at the start.
Kaido said lightly.
Captain, should I take care of the attacks?
Isho asked eagerly. His restored sight gave him confidence, and gratitude toward Kaido burned in his chest.
No.
Kaido replied.
This may become our headquarters later. Don't damage it.
As he spoke, his black eyes shifted to a deep crimson. A surge of dark blue energy burst from his body, spreading outward like a tide. A thick barrier enveloped the entire ship. Boom, boom, boom. Cannonballs exploded uselessly against the barrier, creating only faint ripples. Even the turret beams failed to leave a scratch. Ignoring the assault, Kaido continued forward, guiding the ship right up to the main entrance of Onigashima. Chapter 420, Clash with the Beast Pirates 1. After being struck by overwhelming conqueror's haki, many of the beast pirates collapsed into comas. Kaido and his crew, however, remained completely unaffected. They pressed on toward Onigashima. In the distance, the ghostly port came into view, dotted with artificial animal devil fruit users guarding the docks.
Bullet!
Kaido called.
Ready!
Bullet replied. A surge of deep blue conqueror's haki surged from Bullet's body, spreading across the sea like a tsunami. The waves roared, shrouding the distant port in an eerie haze. Thump thump. One after another, the artificial devil fruit users guarding the port fell unconscious. The strongest among them fought a moment longer, but even they eventually collapsed. When Kaido's pirate ship anchored by the docks, only one guard was left standing. He swayed unsteadily, dazed.
You damned invaders!
He growled, voice trembling.
I'll never let you pass.
But before he could draw a sword, his head pounded with pain. His eyes went wide and he collapsed, joining the others in unconsciousness. Bullet retracted his fist, sneering.
Trash!
Kaido let out a slow breath, gazing at the massive skull-shaped island.
This is Onigashima.
He said softly. The rocky skull mountain loomed in front of them, carved masterfully into a terrifying visage.
Incredible craftsmanship.
He added with a wry smile.
Kaido really isn't ordinary.
He turned to his crew.
Let's go in. Kaido is probably waiting for us.
Redfield's expression flickered.
Cab!
At first they had seen Kaido split Kaido's body. How could he still be alive? Kaido fixed his gaze on the island.
He isn't. I can feel his breath.
His voice was calm, unmoved. For Kaido, Kaido's survival didn't change anything. He'd struck once, and if he had to strike again, he would. Without further hesitation, Kaido led Issho, Bullet, and Redfield into the mouth of the skull. Inside Onigashima Palace, torches lined the cavern entrance, their orange flames dancing and casting tall shadows on the walls. The air was warm and flickered with light. Deeper in, the silhouettes of massive figures came into view. They were imposing, more than familiar. They were Kaido's inner circle. Kaido's voice broke the silence coolly.
Bullet, handle them. Understood.
Another wave of conquerors' haki roared out, sweeping through the dim cavern like a tidal wave. Tum-tum. The weaker ones buckled instantly and fell. Stronger figures sobered up but were momentarily stunned. Soon, the shadows resolved into the hulking forms of Kaido's top fighters. One of them sneered, voice deep and mocking.
You think you can take us down? We're not some petty street thugs.
Kaido made no response. He flicked his hand, and in a second, 3 afterimages of his figure darted forward simultaneously. In a heartbeat, 3 powerful pirates dropped unconscious to the ground. Inside Onigashima, strength grew with distance. The central throne room housed the most fearsome warriors and the most loyal lieutenants. Kaido, Issho, and Redfield systematically cut through wave after wave of them, until at last, a vast iron gate came into view. The gate was imposing, not regular iron but solid seastone, gleaming darkly in torchlight. The weight of it must have been astronomical. Redfield shook his head in admiration.
As expected from a kingdom built by Kaido, even the gate is carved from seastone.
Kaido nodded. He entered first, stepping into a long corridor lined with torches and a red carpet. The passage glowed as though lit by daylight. At the end of the hall, a massive throne room opened up. The skull's eye sockets allowed daylight to stream in, bathing the chamber in pale, eerie light. A booming voice echoed from the front.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to my domain, Kaido.
Dong dong dong. The ground trembled as Kaido himself appeared, towering and monstrous. Next to him stood his 2 top calamities and several of his strongest subordinates. Kaido's eyes burned with fury.
You can see that I am still alive even after I was split in 2.
His voice thundered as he stared at Kaido. Kaido smirked, tilting his head. Kaido laughed a cruel sound.
What a pity, that blade should have killed me. You asked for death.
Kaido replied simply, corners of his mouth rising. Kaido's electromagnetic rhythm pulsed faintly. He sensed that Kaido had not fully regained his strength. His body was still unstable, still healing. He hadn't yet returned to his peak cut in half once. His recovery would be long and painful. Kaido's confidence was clear. Turning, he looked at Redfield, Bullet, and Issho.
Redfield, Bullet, handle the 2 calamities. I'll face Kaido myself. Spare no lives unless I order it.
Redfield nodded sharply. Bullet cracked his knuckles. Isho prepared himself.
We fight now.
Kaido said, fist clenched, grinning. His figure blazed forward in a lightning-fast afterimage. Kaido responded instantly. He brandished the Thunder 8 trigrams, energy crackling around him. Redfield flicked open a red umbrella, its lacquered canopy glinting. He leapt forward.
King, Queen, you two face me.
Chapter 421, Clash with the Beast Pirates 2. The battle's rhythm slowed for a moment, but only because of the overwhelming intensity in the air. Sparks still crackled on Kaido's charred body. Though the fight had only just begun, the overwhelming lightning already made it look like Kaido had been cooked alive. But this battle was far from over. Since ancient times, it was said that kings clash with kings, generals clash with generals, and soldiers clash with soldiers. The beast pirates understood this deeply. Kaido was their king. His strength, his brutality, and his terrifying resilience were unmatched. Their fate in this battle didn't depend on them, but on the outcome between Kaido and Kaido, the enemy who had returned to challenge him once more. Victory or defeat depended solely on their king. Which was why, when they saw a blinding burst of lightning not far away accompanied by the unmistakable smell of scorched flesh, their hearts tightened. Many subconsciously believed the battle had already ended. The lightning slowly faded. Kaido's charred body was revealed, smoke rising from him. His thunder bagua had been reduced to black dust that scattered across the ground. White mist suddenly erupted from Kaido's body. Before their eyes, his burned flesh rapidly regenerated, muscles twisting back into place. Within seconds, Kaido returned to his normal form.
Thunder!
Kaido roared. His enormous frame shifted. His head elongated and twisted, and in a blast of scales and heat, a massive blue dragon burst upward, smashing through the ceiling of the hall before spiraling into the sky. Kaido stomped lightly on the ground, channeling his electromagnetic force, and shot upward after Kaido, vanishing from sight in an instant. Down below, the battle among the others intensified. Redfield faced King and Queen, standing calmly with his red umbrella in hand.
You should both know.
Redfield said, voice light but firm.
Even at full strength, Kaido is not the captain's equal. And right now, he's even weaker. Our captain intends to accept you under him. I don't want to hurt you any more than necessary.
I will never betray Kaido-sama.
King replied coldly. His blade flashed instantly, sword aura shot toward Redfield. Queen was not far behind. His massive fists, hardened with armament haki, brought a gale of pressure as he swung them down toward Redfield's head. Redfield simply sighed.
Why make it difficult for yourselves?
He swept his umbrella horizontally. Sword aura burst from it, sharper and denser than King's strike. Meanwhile, his fist surged with orange-black armament haki as he clashed with Queen. Boom! The ground caved inward. A violent shockwave tore through the hall, throwing dust and fragments of stone into a swirling storm. At the center of it, Queen's expression twisted in pain. PFFFD. Blood spurted from his mouth, and his large frame was sent flying backward.
Queen!
King shouted. Flames erupted from King's body as he transformed. A massive, flame-wreathed pteranodon burst forth, wings whipping the air. He broke the sound barrier, slashing toward Redfield with blazing claws. Redfield turned effortlessly. His umbrella glowed orange-black, releasing a spinning wave of emission haki that pulsed outward. Boom! The shock was volcanic. King's pteranodon body was slammed downward, crashing violently into the ground and carving a crater into the hall floor. Meanwhile, Kaido and Kaido had vanished into the sky, heightening the tension further. Everyone's attention locked onto the clash between Redfield and the two calamities. To the Flying Six, the sight was unfathomable. Redfield was famous, yes, but two calamities fighting one man should have been a guaranteed victory. Instead, both Queen and King were being overwhelmed. Suddenly, King burst upward again, his wings spread wide. Despite his earlier injury, his body showed no obvious wounds. Flames danced across his feathers. Queen staggered beside him, clutching his stomach.
King, be careful.
Queen warned.
This guy.
I know.
King muttered, expression tight.
He struck me earlier. That wasn't normal armament haki.
A mission, one of the advanced forms of armament haki. Even King, a master of fire and steel, had only reached the middle stage. Redfield was far beyond that. Roar! A massive brachiosaurus burst into view. Queen had transformed fully, revealing the immense prehistoric beast of his ancient Zoan.
So you're using your devil fruit.
Redfield said softly.
Don't think I'm easy to deal with.
Queen bellowed. He charged, his metallic-coated head slamming forward. Simultaneously, King descended from above, sword aura tearing through the air. Redfield stood between both attacks, calm and unhurried. Emission haki swirled around his body. He blocked King's sword aura above with a shimmering barrier, while with a simple motion of his umbrella, he smacked Queen on the top of his skull. Hum! A ripple spread through the room, blood splattered from Queen's head.
Impossible!
One of the flying six gasped. The umbrella's tip had sunk slightly into Queen's skull. Boom! Redfield pulled the umbrella free with a sound like popping a cork. White mist surged from Queen's head, and like Kaido, his skull regenerated instantly. Meanwhile, the sword aura from the sky was effortlessly blocked by Redfield's emission barrier. King and Queen exchanged a troubled look. This man was no simple warrior. He might truly be on the same level as Kaido. Redfield dusted off his umbrella.
Stop wasting your energy, you're not my opponents. I haven't even used my full strength, if not for the captain ordering me to keep you alive for recruitment.
King roared. Flames exploded from his wings. His body soared forward like a fiery meteor, crashing toward Redfield. Queen charged too, his massive claws tearing the air and leaving deep gouges in space itself.
Still refusing to understand.
Redfield muttered, frowning.
You underestimate the gap between us.
Chapter 422, Clash with the Beast Pirates 3. The situation was obvious. No matter how King and Queen struggled, the two of them together were still far from being able to defeat the man in the red cape standing before them. All they could do was stall for time and hope that Kaido-sama would finish his own battle soon. Both disasters understood the cruel reality. The man facing them possessed strength equal to Kaido-sama's level, possibly even beyond, and that realization weighed on them like a boulder. Across the battlefield, the remaining Tobai Rappo wore equally grim expressions. 5 of them against 2 of Ayanami Kaido's crew, yet they still couldn't gain the advantage. The swordsman Issho, combining gravity with refined swordsmanship, left deep wounds on their bodies despite their monstrous durability. Boom! Twin bestial roars erupted. Ulti and Page 1 transformed, their bodies twisting into their Zoan ancient forms. A massive Spinosaurus stood tall, long spines rising sharply along its back, while beside it a Pachycephalosaurus slammed its thick dome-like skull against the ground in anticipation. The two siblings, empowered by their animal fruits, surged forward with greater speed, endurance, and ferocity. And together, their teamwork was precise and instinctive, matching Bullet blow for blow. Bullet relied purely on his fists reinforced with armament haki. His devil fruit abilities remained unused. This place was meant to become their base in the future, and unnecessary destruction would only delay reconstruction. Even so, the battlefield around the 3 of them suffered the worst devastation. Flooring shattered, pillars snapped, and walls collapsed under the shockwaves of their collisions.
Good, as expected of Kaido's subordinates.
Bullet laughed loudly, dark blue armament covering his body.
Fighting you is exhilarating, truly exhilarating. You've transformed and used your fruit, so I'll respond with the strongest power I have in my natural state.
Bullet grinned as Ulti and Page 1 braced themselves. A violent pressure burst from him. Blood-red aura churned like a sea of malice, rising high enough to taint the air itself. This bloodlust.
What's so terrifying? I'll smash him myself.
Ulti snapped, her draconic voice sharp and feminine. The crimson aura condensed, disappearing into Bullet's body. What emerged was a figure coated entirely in dark blue haki. Only his eyes shone through 2 blazing red lights that made both siblings tense instinctively.
This is my devil form.
Bullet said coldly.
I hope you enjoy it.
A tidal wave of killing intent cascaded outward. It felt like standing atop mountains of corpses and oceans of blood. Cracks. Bullet stretched his arms, his bones popping like snapping iron rods. Then whoosh. His figure vanished. Ulti's beastly eyes widened.
That speed.
Even with observation hacky, she could barely trace a shadow. Her entire body turned pitch black with armament hacky as she launched her attack, her domed skull ramming forward with enough force to quake the ground.
Trying to clash head-on with me? Foolish.
Bullet's voice echoed behind his fist. Boom! Shockwaves exploded outward, Ulti skidded back, claws tearing trenches in the floor. Crash! Page One's iron-black tail whipped toward Bullet, causing the air to wail violently. The force distorted the space around it. But Bullet caught the tail with one hand. He tightened his grip. The massive Spinosaurus eyes spun as Bullet swung him like a hammer before launching him across the hall. Boom! A crater formed where Page One crashed. On the other side, Black Maria, locked in battle with Isho, winced.
This is bad.
Not only was Bullet overwhelming Ulti and Page One, but even the two Disasters King and Queen Asterisk were losing ground on their end. Everywhere she looked, sword slashes marked bodies, blood splattered across the stone, and the Tobai Rappo struggled desperately.
Where did Kaido find these monsters?
Sasaki roared as another slash tore across his armored hide. Isho spoke calmly.
3 of you, stop resisting, you cannot win. Kaido-sama will join us under our captain eventually. Why fight what has already been decided? Decided?
Fuzifu growled.
Kaido-sama is not losing.
He shot a glance at Sasaki and Black Maria.
All of you, go all out. Don't let outsiders look down on the beast's pirates.
A roar erupted from him. A violent aura swept outward, cracking the ground and filling the hall with swirling dust. Fuzifu's body expanded, fangs lengthened, claws sharpened, and gray fur surged across his massive frame. The dust split apart as a huge saber-toothed tiger stepped out, its claws gouging deep into the stone.
Zoan, ancient species.
Isho murmured. Whoosh whoosh. 2 more eruptions followed. A colossal titan python rose, its massive coils blotting out the light. Black Maria towered high above Isho, her snake eyes glinting coldly but her breath carrying the scent of perfume rather than venom. Sasaki completed his transformation as well, taking on the massive form of a triceratops, his shield-like frill nearly touching the ceiling.
As expected of the beast's pirates.
Isho said with a calm smile.
So many rare ancient Zoan users among your elites. Kaido truly spared no effort building his crew.